3,
2,
1.
1. Monkey bars.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another podcast. Is whoa.
My beer!
I spilled it everywhere. Wow, what a start.
Oh.
What a start.
Wait, where can I get a napkin?
Oh
Where
no,
does
I gotta entertain the people before. Oh no. Oh, Jesse, we can edit this out. You can edit
This is a
things out.
disaster.
Don't worry about it. It's fine. We can edit it out. We probably won't edit this out because this is funny. This is gold, absolute gold. If you're not watching on the audio, the video feed, I have a nice my SpongeBob figurine of him sitting on a giant jellyfish. This is the biggest jellyfish I've ever seen. So yeah, while Jesse is cleaning his beer up, I'm gonna take a sip from my what kind of cider am I drinking today? Down East cider. This isn't sponsored by Down East cider, but I think it should be because I drink it every episode, pretty much. Um, And yeah, I don't know what kind of beer Jesse's drinking. He was drinking until he spilled it. But I think we're about to get back.
Oh, that fucking sucked.
What kind of beer are you drinking, by the way?
I'm drinking it's called a Brooklyn brand lager that is hoppy amber lager. That's 12 fluid ounces. It looks like this.
So, oh yeah, I know that Brooklyn Lager. This episode is brought to you by
Brooklyn Lager.
But
it's more brought to you by fucking carbonation, I would say.
For real, right?
Carbonation. All over my floor, my pants, my Focusrite system.
Oh no.
Yeah, I was on the Focusrite side. Yeah, I think everything's fine. Luckily, this Focusrite, sponsored by Focusrite, it's not. They have these nice little rubber feet on the bottom, so there's a bit of like space in between the damaging good of the system and the scary thing that is the tabletop.
Yeah.
Which all my beer is currently located.
We didn't do an intro fully. Welcome to the podcast. My name is Alex.
I'm Jesse.
AKA Thick.
And Butter.
Well, this is episode, I think, like 86.
Yeah, it's 86. Yeah.
Wow. Every time, wow, that's a high
unbelievable.
Number, what?
Yeah.
But yeah, I was very excited to do this podcast because I love doing it. I like talking to you once a week. It's not like can you imagine if we only talk during this podcast? Like we didn't ask each other, we didn't do anything.
Yeah.
We just it's a working relationship. We just talk.
Yeah, like Mythbusters or something. Like this, it's all we did. Yeah, that'd be really weird. I mean, it's like this is our weird. It's our only chance that we really get to hang out now because we're estranged lovers, you know. But we're friends.
Yeah,
we're friends, like it or not.
But yeah. So I'm trying to do this. I want to know what's up. I want to know what you've been listening to. I want to know what you've been watching. Your sleep schedule, all that stuff. I want to know all that stuff.
Okay, let me break it down. Some of the music I've been listening to because I found this new artist Chad Van Galen. Do you know this guy?
I heard the name.
Yeah, he's kind of like a underground. He's kind of a popular underground singer songwriter guy, and he's just kind of cool because he's kind of in the vein. He's like a weirder Father John Misty, where a lot of
Where
his
the hell is
lyrics.
that guy going, by the way?
I don't know. Like
Come
he
back.
has
Come back. Dude,
when did his
I
last
don't.
album
You
come
guys
out?
think what his quarantine
God's
album would
favorite
be like?
comfortable. Yeah, seriously.
I
What
mean,
is he
dude.
doing? He hasn't been on the news or
I mean,
anything.
he had put out that God's favorite customer, which is really
But that
good.
was like in
Yeah, that was
2017.
like 2 years ago. Yeah, 3 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That
he's
was
been
a that was
solid.
a that was a pretty good album. It was
Father
okay.
Bean, Father Bean Pepsi. Come
Father
back.
Bean Pepsi, where'd you go, boy? Big boy, where's you go in your beard? We need you during this pandemic
But
time. It
so
feels like the
Van
Avatar
Galen is kind
disappeared.
of like he's like a singer-songwriter, a
Yeah, and I
la
mean,
Father John Misty.
and I guess I compare Father John Misty because Father John Misty's quirky, and
Yeah.
he's just very quirky.
Yeah.
He kind of
I was
reminds me.
listening to Father John Misty song, and he said something so funny. Oh, I
Yeah.
can't remember. Hold on.
So
Please continue.
he's just a little he's just kind of weirder and like has talks about more goofy stuff and all of
Right.
that. And his songs are really really nice and sometimes not like super serious, you know, but they're still like very kind of emotional. Like he has a song that's about a blood machine and it's about this big circulating blood machine and it's this guy who comes to this society of people who are enslaved to this blood machine and they are like asking him to break down this blood circulating blood machine so they can have freedom.
Yeah.
That I can't remember what I think that song was called Blood Machine. I don't remember. But he's cool. I like
Yeah, I'll have
him.
to check it out.
I,
Van
oh,
Galen,
and the
like
other
Chad
and the
Van Galen.
yeah, Chad Van Galen. The other thing he does is that he does cool animations for a lot of his music videos. His
That's
recent song Samurai Sword, which is also really cool, has a really cool animation behind it.
That's
So
Okay.
I've been really digging that shit a
Cool.
lot.
So I figured out what I can't believe I did this, but I figured out what the lyric was of the Father John Misty song.
What is
I
it?
heard that made me laugh so hard. Some of his like he's so funny. But
Yeah.
so I was working, I was listening to God's favorite customer. Cause I hadn't heard it. I only heard it like a couple times when it came out. I didn't really like
I'm gonna
delve
listen to
into
that
it as
again.
deeply as like pure comedy or I Love You
Yeah.
Honey there.
Yeah, for sure.
But when he said this, I literally laughed out loud. It was on the Palace, and he goes, "Last night I wrote a poem. Man, I must have been in the poem zone." Like what? The way like he also says it that Father John Misty like kind of like straight
Yeah.
like he
Yeah,
acts like
yeah.
he didn't even say something. He just said poem zone.
Yeah, and it's also funny because like this is it's kind of a magic that only Father John Misty has because he has such a beautiful voice. You get kind of
Beautiful.
distracted in the weird shit
Yeah.
he says because it's just like you
Yeah.
sound so beautiful and
Yeah.
you sound so handsome and I'm being washed away in your beauty and handsomeness based on your voice
When we
timbre
saw him
alone.
live, that was such a
Yeah, that was
great
cool.
concert. Such a great concert.
Yeah, he put on a tight ass concert. Tight ass. Literally. It made your ass tight.
It was definitely the first concert that I've been to where like everyone was like sitting down, you know?
Mhm.
Like everyone was like you don't like rock out to a Father God Misty song. You're kind of sitting
Yeah.
there. It's an interesting concert experience because you're just sitting there like listening to the music and kind of like nodding your head.
Yeah.
But like you never like that's not. Like, you
That's
usually
not
go
what
to
a concert
and you're
like.
like fucking shaking your booty,
Yeah.
punching people.
But you know, there's always that
making out with
moment.
random strangers. You know?
There's always that moment though when you're in a sick concert where it's just like everyone unanimously decides like, all right, it's hype, and they all very casually stand up, you know. And then you have people in the crowd who start to sit down, like in the back people sit down because they're older and tired. And then just get a wave of people sort of sitting down. It's kind of this anticlimactic rising and sitting back down, and it's seated concert.
Yeah, I've been to those too. But dude, I have been to some weird. I went to some like bad concerts, but kind of
Yeah.
hilariously like awesome concerts. Because one of my buddies has like season tickets to like this outdoor venue, like this
Yeah.
big outdoor venue in
Is
Pittsburgh.
that where you saw Kendrick?
Yeah, which
Yeah.
is by far the best concert I've ever been to in my life. Not
It sounds
like
crazy.
not Kendrick's one of my favorite artists of all time, but you know, other than that, like if you remove yourself, it's insane. I mean, he puts on
Hmm.
a insane show. You know, if there's any rapper that you have to go see that's on your bucket list, it's Kendrick Lamar, without a
Yeah.
doubt. But
He's also one of the best rappers of all
yeah,
time,
he's
too.
one of
In
the best
addition,
artists of all time right now. So
so you
like,
definitely should go see him if you
yeah.
can.
What's cool about him and side note is like usually like rap performances like they play, you know, they just have like a backing track, right? They play the
Yeah.
beat. It's fine. It's all about the energy. It's all about the performance. But Kendrick brings a fucking band.
I
And
like
the
that.
crazy thing about that is like, you know, especially on T-Pad, you know, a lot of those instrumentals are bands. You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
they're
Like
not very
jazz
yeah,
bands.
exactly. And so, but this band is like improvising and like changing up the songs like as like he's performing, and so you get this almost new experience. Like you haven't
Yeah.
heard All Right live. It's different than you listen to it on the studio version. King Kuka
Yeah.
sounds when I look King Kuka live was the coolest shit I've ever heard because
Yeah.
it's there's more like guitar riffs in it. Like it is fucking cool as fuck.
I
Anyway,
I
but
like I really that's kind of how I prefer my live performances to sound. I mean like
yeah,
it's just my preference. It's not like it's objectively better because like there
it's just
isn't.
he puts effort into it. A lot of people
Yeah.
don't. A lot of I think like a lot of artists like don't. But it's weird because you know when we saw Brockhampton, they had kind of a backing track, but they put on like a show. You know,
Yeah.
there's a lot of things going
Yeah,
on, and
yeah.
it's interesting, and it's not the energy. You know,
Brockhampton's a good example, kind of like the. I think my sort of style. I like the malleability of like a jazz where there's performance and sort of like I like the thing of a live performance being unique to the live
right?
performance because it's like if I wanted to listen to the album, I'll listen to the album.
Yeah,
I want to hear you just like perform and do that. So that's my favorite thing. But there is a lot to say, like a lot of metal performances and Brockhampton. It's just like just seeing them execute their songs
right,
in a live setting is
yeah,
really cool and
right,
also awesome. It's also you also have a different experience with a band based on like maybe it's your way of entering into their albums and stuff.
mm,
So sometimes and sometimes you have the opposite where you like watch like a jazz band or like a bluegrass band is a great example. You listen to a bluegrass band live and you're like, oh, it was the hypest shit I've ever seen. You listen to
exactly.
their record or something and it might be not as exciting, because
Yeah, right.
they don't have the hottest lick because they're in the
Right.
studio and
Yeah,
there was only one big
that's
busty lady
interesting,
in the
isn't that?
studio.
That's
Yeah.
really interesting, isn't it?
Hmm.
Like when you rather see a jazz, like there's amazing jazz performances, you know,
Yeah.
recorded obviously, but you kind of want to go see a, like I don't know, like if you Miles Davis live, you know, if you have the
Yeah,
chance, you know,
definitely.
because that's where you are gonna really see what he's like, you know,
Yeah.
jazz. But to that point, though, hip hop is a lot different
No,
because you
yeah, it's
can't
weird.
like. There's a lot of like, you know, I know Freddie Gibbs, for example, he toured with Madlib when Pinata came out, which I would have like shit my pants seeing that, like Madlib
Yeah.
DJing the beats and like literally DJing and like changing up the beats like
That'd be
live.
sweet. That'd be
Dude,
super
that would have
sweet.
like made me nuts. But
Yeah.
but that's a very rare case. You know, some hip hop, you know, performances will have a band or a DJ on stage that
Yeah.
is kind of like that's like super, super, super old school. Like they're, you know, for example, like Tribe Called Quest, like one of the main members is their DJ. Back
Yeah.
then they didn't have like they couldn't just play the record. They had a DJ there basically kind of working the beat or playing the instrumental like again.
Yeah.
So it was kind of that was more interesting to see because there's an actual performance behind the
Yeah.
instrumentation that you're watching. But
Yeah.
now it's not like that. Now it's like, with the internet and stuff. Someone like J-Pop Mafia, like, dude, his performances, like, he walks out by himself with a microphone and a laptop, plugs it into the speakers, and plays the 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 beats and just performs like that by
Yeah.
himself.
Yeah.
Like that's you couldn't do that like 30 years ago. You
Yeah.
know, and
It's
so
like it's a really interesting. I think that the way that you can sort of grab the energy of people is completely limitless. I think
yeah,
whatever based on your
oh
charisma
yeah,
or whatever you can
yeah,
do, but it is kind of an interesting predicament to sort of figure this shit out.
mhm,
The to figure out like is it basically like how do you make it so a backing track is not stale? How is it that you're not just performing a talent
yeah.
show
Well,
type of
also like
thing?
rap too. You're watching. It's more about the performance. It's more
Yeah.
about like the rapping. But
Yeah.
like what I really hate is like which is a trend that goes on now is like lip syncing. Instead of just the background like beat, they have like literally their like I watched Playboy Cardi, from doing some like virtual performances or whatever. And after I watched that, I was like, I've never seen Playboy Cardi live ever because that just looks like it could be fun, but he doesn't because the way that his songs are made, they are very hard to perform because
Yeah.
like you have to be able to like
Well, he's like killing his vocal cords to be able
he
to
would
get
kill
that
himself. Yeah,
sound.
yeah, and
Yeah.
doing that every night.
Yeah.
I mean, there's people like The Weeknd and some like amazing like superhuman people that could like do that, like sing every night and
Yeah. Well,
basically,
he's like a trained soul singer
yeah, he's
though.
a
You know, it's
real
different than
singer.
like
Yeah.
oh, man, every single time
Well,
there's a
again,
catastrophe, my arm. Technical difficulties. First it was the beer, and then they took my arm. What other necessary limb will they take next? Yeah, I don't know, man. Like
but like no, Playboy Cardi, like he literally is just like playing, like it's literally like if you went on Apple Music, press play on Stop Breathing and just fucking like sang over it. It's like, bro, I can do that. You
yeah.
know?
I like the Brockhampton concert, and I think I would have liked it
Well,
more
they're
if I was
actually
in the
rapping. They're
yeah.
actually
Well,
performing.
it's a completely but I mean like still for the Brockhampton concert, I couldn't help but be like a little bit disappointed because of like the backing track playing in the background. Like I love the rapping, but I love the instrumentals of
Yeah.
Brockhampton. And
Well, how would you? Well, here's my question to you though. How do you do that?
I know that's the hard thing though.
Yeah,
That's
like
like
you
the
can't
hard thing
really do that.
because you can't like I mean I like
Like
the
you
idea.
could, like you could do like live instrumentation of those beats, but a lot of them
Yeah.
are like synthesized. They're he's making those on Logic or Ableton or whatever.
Yeah.
So
I
like it's
mean
hard to like do that. Like
I
I don't
think
really know a way that you can even do
there's
that.
there's a lot of performance. It just depends on how the person makes music, what kind of experience the artist wants to present, because Brockhampton also has the
Hmm.
factor of like being a boy band, you know, so
Right.
that also kind of works in their favor to kind of have that where they focus more of their attention on manipulating the lighting and like the
Yeah. Yeah.
choreography
Right. Yeah.
essentially.
Right. Yeah.
So I
Right.
think if we were more like up close and experiencing that, like
Right. Yeah.
that would have sort of taken the place of some of the more
Sure.
interactivity
Yeah.
in the backing beat. But
Yeah.
I really like a lot of this electronic music that's coming around where it's cool to see that at this point anybody who says that like computer musicians are not musicians are just like flat out wrong. Like it's not even an argument anymore.
You're either like 80 years old or you're just
Yeah.
like you don't understand.
It's just ignorant now. And I feel like when
Yeah,
we
it's like
started
insane. It's
I
like
feel
one of the
like
most insane things. Like
I,
I still hear that to this day.
but I feel like in college, like starting college, that was a reasonable argument. Like that was like, yeah, maybe. And then by the end of college, it was like, dude, you're just stupid if you feel that way. Maybe it was just me coming around to it too. That's very totally possible. But I think I like the idea of, if I was in a hip hop group, I think I would do something like with like DJing the beats. I really like what Death Grips did. The Death Grips performance was really cool. Which maybe there was some things that they kind of had a backing beat on it, but the like I think like a piece, I think if they had like a piece of the instrumentation, like a drummer or something, or like one guitarist, I think that would really help to bring like those pure backing beats like performances to life.
It's hard on like cases like Rockhampton because you have to start thinking about like hiring people. You have to start thinking about, because there's already like what 15 people that they're carrying around on the tour bus and stuff.
Yeah, it's kind of
crazy.
I
don't know how much money they have, like you have to kind of like I remember like Dylan, my buddy Dylan, shout out to Dylan. He was dude, I was so jealous of him, but I was on the Rockhampton wave like when the first album came out. I was there and he was also there, but he went to their first like tour ever, and like after Saturation, and his perspective on it is, so he's gone to every tour since then, and hearing his perspective on it is so funny because when they first performed, when he went saw them the first time, there were like 200 people, and it was in like this like club kind of deal. Then the second time, it was like more like when we saw Arcade Fire, kind of like a bigger arena, because that's when Saturation 2 came out, and then when Saturation 3 came out, it was more of a bigger venue. Then Ginger, it was fucking theaters, So it was like, he's been there since the growth of it. But
that's really cool.
That way, it's like they need them learning how to put on an actual show. Maybe at some point, they will have enough money and have the confidence to be like, hey, let's hire a band and like literally rehearse the fuck out of this to make our beats be instrumentals like translate for a live band. I think a lot of work, man.
Yeah,
that is fucking crazy.
I think you brought up a really important word, which is confidence. Because we sometimes take for granted, because we listen to Brockhampton and it's like they're some of our favorite music ever, right? So these guys are like kind of like geniuses, but they're still young and learning. They're just great right now, and they're still learning how to get better. Like I love when you talk about Kendrick deciding to wait on T-Bab making Good Kid Bad City because he knew he wasn't ready to make that album yet. So that is another thing to take in mind, where it's just like, I bet they want more out of their live performances, because every artist who wants to grow does, they want to push it and make it better. And I totally understand if they like have that factor. It's just like, let's just keep with the backing beats and just work on everything else, and all that other kind of stuff. So it's like,
so bummed that I really wanted to see them do the Ginger tour.
I know.
Look really, really cool.
Those would be, I know a lot of people aren't super hot about that album, but I just really adore that album.
Still, like, I don't understand.
I get it, because it's so different than Saturation. Like, I get that, but it's really good.
Of like, there's no like, I don't know.
It's not. It's just not a banger album as much.
It's still Brockhampton as fuck. That's the thing that doesn't really like, I don't really get about the response to it, because it's like, it's more melancholy, I guess. But dude, it's like there's fucking bops. Boy Bye, fucking It's Pray Right. There's still like fucking bops. I mean, I guess there's no bump or no fucking New Orleans or Joe Hare, but I mean, dude, it's still like fucking fantastic.
Well, how I feel about Ginger is similarly, which this might be a terrible comparison to make because of how that less people know about Death Grips than they know about Brockhampton. But the comparison I think of,
I don't know. That's actually a really good question.
Actually, I really don't know. I think Death Grips is a little bit more niche. Well, I don't know. Anyways,
I honestly don't know.
The comparison I was going to make is like the comparison between the Money Store and Neighbors on the Moon, right?
Yeah,
Like
sure.
because
Yeah,
it's
right.
like both of those
Yeah,
are fantastic albums, but when
right,
I'm listening to the Money Store, I'm ripping off my shirt and destroying
right,
my furniture.
right,
When I'm listening to
right,
Neighbors on the Moon, I'm like, I can't believe they got
right.
Bjork on this album.
Yeah,
I can't
right.
believe they're manipulating
Yeah,
it so beautifully.
yeah,
I can't
yeah,
believe this
yeah,
works
right.
with MC Ride talking about women's necks and stuff, and Bjork's on it. Dude,
Yep,
speaking of
yeah.
Bjork, she is a genius.
Yeah,
Wow,
you
she's
listen to
so
Bjork
good.
recently?
I listened to
Yeah, I
oh,
love Bjork, man.
okay. Do you know Kelly Lee Johnson? I have been listening to Bjork. I love
No, I
Bjork, but
don't.
you need, I'm
Okay,
telling you, I'm going to send you an album and
okay,
you must listen to it because
okay.
you love it. But Kelly Lee Johnson is kind of, I think, a new she's an old, a little bit, she's still a really young woman, but she's like, I think she's in like her, she's like 35 or something.
Uh-huh.
And I listened to this album that she made just last year, and I thought it was fucking phenomenal. Like
Mm-hmm.
I've listened to it like front to back so often. Let me just see what it. Oh, Kelly Lee Owens. I'm sorry, I'm not sure if I said that. She
Oh,
released
okay.
an album. She released an album called Inner Song,
Uh-huh.
which is absolutely fantastic. Her first original titled song is her first album is a self-titled album called Kelly Lee Owens, and that
Uh-huh.
one's good too. But listen to Inner Song because that one is fantastic,
Okay.
and not I don't
Yeah,
think enough people know about that
we'll do.
album.
We'll
But
do.
she was praising Bjork, and
Oh my
she has
God.
some pretty
Yeah.
huge Bjork worship
Bjork is
too, of course. But
dude, Bjork is like, yeah,
uh,
she's one of those artists that like when I heard like originally when I started really listening to a lot more music, like kind of experimenting,
yeah,
dude, she like there was something about her music that like I think it was her voice really that like
yeah,
absolutely just like captivates you and I think like everybody, you know. I think like even if you don't like it, she has such a unique, crazy voice.
yeah,
But even like delving into her like discography, the crazy thing about her to me is that you know every great artist like Kanye, Death Grips, you know all these guys, their albums are completely different. Like when you
yeah.
listen to debut, post, and then
So
homogenic,
different.
you're like, dude, this is like a completely different artist. Like she has like this whole, um, you know, concepts for records. You know, and like I know one of them. I cannot remember what it is. I think it's the one where she's wearing the swan dress. I think a lot of that album, like, there's one album where she was like, I don't want to use
Oh, Vesper Time? Is that what you're thinking?
Vespertine.
That's the
Vespertine.
one. That's the one I just listened to, and I
Yeah,
love that album.
that one's like one of my favorite York albums.
It's
But that one
unbelievable.
has like the instrumentation on that one is like extremely like minimal, and it's like a
Yeah,
lot of like background vocals in that. So I think that her concept for that was like to like basically use the voice as like the main instrument and the main like chorus throughout that whole thing.
yeah.
I think like it's either that one or I can't remember, but like she has such weird. And then she did an album, definitely her worst album, called what is it? It's the one where she's like in like a weird fat suit in the
Oh, Volta.
Volta. Yeah, so she did that whole album with this iconic hip hop producer, Timberland.
Yeah,
Iconic pop
like the
hip hop
shoes.
producer Timberland. Yeah, yeah.
Huh.
Timberland. Yeah,
Oh,
absolutely
gotcha.
iconic. He's
Never
produced
heard
like
of him.
yeah, he's incredibly iconic. He produced like tons of hits for like Justin Timberlake. You know, like he's like
Oh,
but he did that whole album with her. Dude, that album, but like that sounds completely different than anything you know that she's ever made. Like
yeah,
it's
right.
so fucking whacked out. Like
I
that
I
shit is whacked out.
I love shit like that because that's why Gizzard's so cool, right? And I think
Mm,
because they're just sort of this casual rock band that's putting in like this effort to just create more of these concept albums, not necessarily in the term of like a progressive concept album, but like
yeah,
Bjork kind of concept album.
Right.
I really like shit like that. Swans is another, Radiohead, Swans, you know,
Radiohead, yeah.
all of our, I think our favorite artists are artists who do shit like that, because I don't really like listening to the same kind of albums. Like I love the
Right.
Strokes, but like it's like every
Yeah.
Stroke album just
Right.
sort of sounds like a Stroke
Their last
album.
album was really good. You know,
I do
well,
like the
it's
last
interesting.
album.
They're like, I think Weezer is another one. Like I've been listening
Hmm.
to I love Weezer, but I've been going back and listening to like early Weezer, and their new album is fucking fantastic. That I was like blown away by how good it was, because you don't know with Weezer, you don't know anymore right now. Like
Yeah.
you're either gonna get a really the most corny thing you ever heard in your life, or Weezer's a tough. They're in a tough position because the music they make is like, I describe it as like when you hear a Weezer song, you know immediately if you're a fan of Weezer if it's a good Weezer song or a bad. One listen, you're like, that's a good one or that's a fucking garbage one.
Yeah.
You know immediately. There's no, because they make like pop, pop rock songs, but
Yeah.
like um they make kind of similar things, but like it's all about working in the right formula, and doing that formula correctly. Like Strokes is
Yeah.
kind of like Strokes, like their first two albums are like some of the best rock albums I've ever heard in my life, and then it kind of gets stale because they're kind of doing the same thing,
Yeah.
and then it just got to the point where it was so derivative, that it was like they went away for a long time.
Yeah,
They
right.
didn't, and their newest album is great, and they took more like risks, like longer kind of songs, like more. But the strokes are still there though. Those
Yeah,
riffs are
yeah, yeah.
still there. Those hooks are still there. It's a Strokes album, but they're kind of. I thought on their last album it was very it was pushing it forward. It was pushing the
Yeah,
Strokes formula
I,
forward.
and I wonder if that was sort of Julian Casablancas like work with the Voids that sort of just
Probably,
like
yeah,
reset his mind, which
yeah,
I think
probably.
the Voids are some of my like
Voice is
favorite
great, yeah.
shit ever. I love their
Voice is great.
what is it? What is that called? What is the, do they just have, because
I
they
think
have,
it's called The Voids.
yeah, just the Voids, which is actually their
There's
second
two albums.
album.
Yeah, there's
Yeah.
two.
I
The
like their
first
second
one,
one.
I
It's
think the first one's
sick.
called Julia Casablancas and the Voids.
Yeah.
And then
Which that one's good, but it's like
I was, yeah,
it's not as solid as
yeah,
their self-titled
yeah,
album. That
yeah,
album's fucking
yeah.
good
It's
as
really good.
shit.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Um yeah. I think it's kind of a funny
He's a
thing when you're,
weird dude. Did you see his interview with Anthony Fantano?
no, I didn't.
Dude, it
Was
was
that cool?
weird. Like I like it was good, but he's a weird dude.
Yeah.
I kind of like got like a weird vibe from him, honestly. Like he was kind of like pretentious, but I love his
Uh-huh.
music. I love his music,
Oh,
so it's interesting. But he's
you know,
kind of, I, yeah. But
you know,
you should watch it. It's interesting.
I was avoiding bringing this up on the podcast because I knew it was going to make me sad. But it's another weird artist that I recently discovered. I knew he was weird, but I realized how sort of unfortunately weird he is. Was Ariel Pink? Have you heard about his shit? Man, that guy's kind of a fucking
He was
fuck.
like, he's not a horrible guy. He's
Yeah.
just
Well, he was at like the Trump rally,
He
dude. He
was, but
was,
the funny part about that is like he was at the Trump rally, which is like
yeah.
whatever, but like the way that he went about like dealing with that was
Yeah.
he just shot himself in the foot. Like he
Yeah.
just completely just fucked his career up. Like
I thought it was so funny
he should have
how,
just not done anything. Like not even
yeah.
got on the news or whatever. Just fucking
Yeah.
yeah, okay, I was there, whatever. I still make great music, whatever.
Yeah.
This is like political news. A lot of people like Trump, shocker. But the fact that he tried to like hide it and then like go on the news and try to it was he's an idiot. I'd
Yeah.
say he's an idiot. Dude, what he
Yeah.
did was stupid.
I mean, it's just sad to see that, like, I'm just, I
Yeah,
like
that was a really
Pom
that
Pom
made me
is just
laugh really
like,
hard.
Pom Pom is just such an important album to
Yeah,
me.
it's
It's
still great. You know,
it's
you
it's
still listen
hard.
to it.
It's just sad to see that like somebody who made something that so is like emotionally connected to like the music rotation that I listen to
Yeah.
is like is it is toxic, not just in the way for like voting for Trump, but just seems to be just sort of a problematic kind of person, you know? And
Yeah,
it's
I
just
mean, it's
like
just
everyone's human, but
that was the part that I was getting at that was really disheartening about that whole situation was how he dealt with it.
right,
Like that
right.
was like, dude, there's probably tons of musicians that we listen to that probably voted for Trump, like
Yeah.
whatever. But the way that he like, it was just so not the
Yeah.
way to deal with that.
I,
Like, getting
yeah.
like his views on like cancellation and stuff, and like how he like it was
And I
not
mean,
great.
maybe he'll be a guy who kind of goes through these controversial kind of like phases. You know, there's a lot of people I respect who kind of have that kind of this sort of trial by fire hardships
Look
that
at
they put on
Kanye.
themselves. Kanye is like another good example. I was thinking
He's
of Michael
going through it again
Jarrah
right now.
or Dan Harmon even is another
Dan
guy who's
Harmon,
kind
yeah.
of like a guy
Yeah.
who's done some controversial shit, but has sort of, I guess, I don't know, like to the public eye and to my opinion, has worked through it in a redeemable fashion and
Yeah.
it makes them better people. So I hope, I don't know, I hope Ariel Pink grows a little bit out of it, but it's just like, it's a bummer, you know. It's just a bummer,
Yeah.
man, to like realize that your
He,
idols are
he
weird
has
fucking
musicians that
humans.
are not shockingly idiots. You see
Yeah.
Marilyn Manson.
Yeah, what was up with that? I didn't see what
He just
happened with
came out
that.
that he's a serial rapist.
That's fucking fucked
I
up.
mean, but like I saw that, I was like, yeah,
I
like,
mean,
it's fucking crazy.
you know what's really bothers like
My dad, dude, he made me laugh so fucking
what did
hard.
he say?
We were watching that on the news, and my dad goes, "We got no shit," and I'm like, he's like, you know, he's like, he sucked the dude's dick on stage. I was like, what? He's like, no, my buddy went to the Marilyn Manson concert and he sucked his bandmate's dick on stage. He's a little
Wow.
crazy. I was like,
Yeah, I
I
mean,
can
man,
see that. And I was like, dude, that's like big. And a Marilyn Manson concert, like, I'm gonna suck this guy's dick. And he's
yeah,
just like, what's
yeah.
going on?
That is
Get me out of here.
yeah, that's he is a crazy person. But what's really annoying about that is sort of like the bad sort of name that puts on sort of the more extreme kind of genres like metal and shit, where it says
Right.
like it's like, oh, obviously people who look like that and make music like that are messed up. It's
Well,
just
yeah,
like,
no, I mean,
dude,
he's
that
incredibly iconic.
sucks.
Incredibly
Yeah.
iconic, but I mean, it's just funny. Like, you look at him now and you're like, I mean, it's pretty funny that he's like, I mean, it's just like, you know,
Yeah.
he's obviously, I mean, it wasn't, I think, like, he was just a lot of, I mean, it was bad. I mean, you should read it. It's not cool.
Yeah.
When
Yeah.
he's grooming little girls
Oh
and
man, that's
yeah.
really fucked up.
Really bad. Oh, yeah,
He's like a real
yeah,
fucked
yeah.
up serial
He's
rapist.
going to prison, probably. Yeah.
Holy shit. Well, get him,
Yeah.
yeah, get the fuck out. That's disgusting that he's been around for so long. Man, that makes me like so pissed off.
Yeah.
I fucking hate rapists, dude. They're the fucking worst. Fuck rapists. Can you have you thought about like looking back on Denison? And I've just been like reflecting on like all these guys that we were like sort of around and stuff and realizing, reflecting, realizing it's like those guys were fucking scumbag, degenerate rapists, like just flat
There's a
out.
lot of assholes out there.
Yeah, it's
No.
just it's just so disgusting to make that
A
realization
lot of
how many
assholes out there.
people
And
are
what's
like
sad
that.
about that is like, I mean, there's just a lot of like asshole people in general. I mean, like, you know,
Yeah,
it's just like, especially when you're like in your 20s,
yeah,
you know, like, you don't know what the fuck you're doing. You don't know how
yeah.
to navigate anything, you know, and like, you know, you get, yeah, it's a horrible situation, yeah. It's not even just in Denison, that's just everywhere. Like,
You know,
any college that you're gonna go to is
I
gonna be exactly like that. You're gonna meet
yeah.
amazing people who, like, actually are good people, and then you're gonna meet people that are just assholes. You know,
Yeah.
like
Well, not just assholes, literally people who should be like in jail. Like
yeah,
literally, like
probably.
you
Yeah,
have done crimes.
probably. I mean, I hear
um,
there's I don't want to get into that. Yeah, I mean, there are definitely stories for sure.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I think everyone who's been to college knows this. And if you
100%.
go
Yeah.
to college and you say that wasn't happening, then you're lying to yourself.
Yeah, I
You're
know,
basically just lying to yourself, which is like, how messed up is that? We live in. I wish that I could go outside. Like, I want to live my life where I meet any random person and I could be like, I'll give you the benefit of the doubt that you're a good guy. But honestly, that's a way worse gamble to say you're probably a shit bag. Like
Yeah.
most of the time, like you after talking, you kind of know a little bit. You get better as you get older.
Yeah,
Your
I
dick
definitely could like
asshole
tell.
detector.
You know,
You get
I
used
always
to it.
want to do that. I always want to meet people and be like, oh yeah, you're a
Yeah,
good person. Um,
but
but like, and then you
it's
just, but yeah, when you talk like, especially like people in medicine, like, um, I mean, I remember talking to a couple. I mean, even at like, like high school. I mean, I remember I couldn't even tell the story, but there was like a couple. I mean, I there are something that like just doesn't click with me, and this will make sense to you too. Is like talking about girls in a certain way, like women in a
yeah,
certain way. Like I understand like being like, oh yeah, like she's hot, like she's cute or whatever. That's normal, like that's normal, you know. But I mean, there's a level, there's a line, that
yeah,
normal and civilized men don't cross. And there were people at Denison and uh, high school that I would talk to, and they made comments that I would literally be like, it was such a visceral reaction that I would want to jump and strangle and punch their head into the
I
concrete.
know
And it was like this,
exactly what you
like,
mean.
because it's just so disgusting. And it's
Yeah,
like not even like partly like this toxic masculinity thing. It's like, no, you're just an asshole. You
yeah,
could just like you're just a dick. Like taking gender out of it, you're just an asshole. You'd be an asshole
yeah.
out of anything,
Yeah,
Like,
it's just unbelievable that it's like
and I get it. I get it. Men are, dude. We are horny fucking. When you're like 20, that's all you think about. Like when you're
mhm.
like 20, 18, that's all you think about. That's literally every teenager's like that's their experience. But there's a
Yeah.
way to act on it that's
Yeah, but
not being an asshole.
I think it's something weird. The thing that's weird to me is how guys, when they're talking with guys, seem to not comprehend that sexual interactions are a collaboration between a man and a woman. You know, like
Yeah.
you're missing a
Well,
key
yeah, it's like
factor
I think.
here.
Okay, the more specifically person I'm talking about is people that seen as getting dates or getting girls to like them is a game.
Yeah,
Instead of
that's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm
instead
talking
of
about. Exactly.
like two people who get together and are like, I like your company, I like your company, we make each other better.
Yeah.
We should touch private parts. You know,
Yeah.
like instead of that, it's like a game. It's like
Yeah.
the numbers of like how many girls have you dated or how many girls have you put your wee wee in. It's like
Yeah.
what the fuck are we doing here? Like
Yeah.
what are we doing?
I mean, it feels. I agree with you. I think
Like there was, yeah, yeah. It's what I can't do it. It's
I
like
think
one of those things that I can't even
I think
engage in.
I think it's like it's just ridiculous that people are just so immature that they think that having like a conversation which should be on the Pornhub comment section, that
Right.
like that constitute having like a real interaction with like a friend. It's just like, this is a good comment, let's just talk
Yeah.
about like how big her tits is and how we would like to put our penis on her tits in different positions.
Right.
It's
It's
just
like, yeah, okay. Cool.
don't you have anything better to do? But
Yeah.
it's totally
And then
I
you
agree
go,
with you, man.
yeah,
It's gross.
that would be cool, I guess.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of talk about there. Like, okay, cool.
Yeah,
You
it's
know?
I know what you mean about it just kind of being like
Like
this
yeah,
visceral
it's just
thing
like I
though.
don't. It's just not our personality. You know, like
Well, it's
also
not
weird
it's
to
not
me
even
is like
about like it's not even like about personality though, because it's like I think a lot of people are a lot more horny or into like sex and all that stuff than
yeah,
other guys. That's true, but it's also a factor of just maturity and
yeah,
just knowing how to like it's not about like keep that shit to yourself. It's about like you have to think about what you're saying and how like horrendous what you're saying actually is. It's like it's not really funny. You're
uh,
being a fucking
yeah. I mean,
you're like
when it
dirt.
gets to me, when it gets like really fucking weird, it's like I can like tolerate like or whatever like comment or
Yeah.
whatever, but like when it gets like I remember being at a party and like standing there and like drinking beers with this dude. This was like freshman year. It was before I knew you. This is
Yeah.
when I was like meeting people. We were at like the Sunnies, and this guy, like this girl, walked by. Very attractive young lady, and he like said something like just so so disgusting, like
Yeah.
so obscene, like what he would do to this person. I was like, what? Like, what are you talking about? Like,
Yeah.
that's cool, dude. I appreciate it. It's like hunting or something.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's so fucking weird. You know,
Yeah.
it's so weird. And
I th-
this goes to like I've heard women do this too. You know, and men. You know, this is like both ways. It's just such a weird like pursuit of. I don't know. Just looking at like
I
people as like objects. It's
I
so
think
fucking weird.
I think that I think it's cool to like say all this sexual stuff like this objectifying factor as long as you're fine saying it to the face of the person that
Yeah,
you are
right. Yeah,
objectifying.
right. Yeah,
If you're cool with that
that's
and
very
they're like
true.
and you're like in a group, if you're in a group and we can
Yeah,
like talk about sex
yeah,
with people, it's like dude,
yeah,
go fucking nuts, get crazy,
yeah,
talk
right.
about furries, talk
Yeah,
about
right.
feeders. I don't give a
Yeah,
shit. Like all
right.
that shit is on the
That's a
table
really
as
good point.
allowed kind of thing. But if you're just like saying it to this random guy who's next to you, then you're a scared, insecure, pathetic
Yeah,
pile of
it's just
shit.
weird.
It's
Yeah,
weak and
I think it's
insecure.
like that's what the thing is too. Is like I think it's like people who are so insecure and
Yeah.
have to like
And
act
then they
out.
have to like make random dudes impressed by what
Yeah,
they would
like
do, like what
that
they
is
would be
what
brave
that
enough to do.
in a nutshell is what really makes me cringe. You know, I
Yeah.
know you don't like cringe humor. That shit, man, like when it's
Yeah.
real, when I see like a real mental thing going on where
Yeah.
they don't like themselves and they're subjecting me to like make me like them in this
Yeah.
horrific way that like is so not how you get someone to like you. That shit makes me want to die. You know,
I know.
it's like, bro, like, what are you fucking doing, man?
Luckily I haven't like been in a lot of direct contact with people like that just because I like you, I just can't really tolerate it that for that long.
No.
And after a while, after you accidentally get in a couple of these situations, you can just smell it
Accidentally.
from miles away.
Accidentally. Yeah.
Yeah, you just smell it and
Yeah.
you're just like, I'm not going to talk to that guy. Like, I'm just
Yeah.
not going to be alone with that man.
Yeah.
I don't have any interest in being anywhere
Yeah.
near him.
It's just like,
It's like it's like this stench aroma of like insecurity and semen. It's like, get it away from
I
me. I
know,
don't want to
I
be
have
in
like
this cloud.
trauma because like there was like in high school, um, I fucking hope somebody from high school is listening to this. But there was a group of like high schoolers in my grade who called themselves the Wolf Pack,
Ew.
and they were like, so I only had like 60 people in my grade,
Yeah.
and there was the Wolf Pack, which was like a group of like the 13 most dumbest guys you maybe will ever speak to in your entire life. They're still dumb as fuck, by the way. I hate all of them, most of them. There's a couple that are fine, but but most of them are. I mean, they're the worst kind of man. They're the worst kind of person because
Yeah.
they're privileged. They have no like they don't have to work a day in their life. They don't have to if they don't want to. They are they just don't care to like be a good person. They don't care
Yeah.
about what people think of them, which is just which is admirable in one respect. But when you're like an asshole, it's like, bro, you gotta change the way. Like, I mean, these people, like, I can't believe I didn't get in a fight in high school. I mean, I
Yeah.
cannot believe it. Like, there's like a couple times where I would want to like cuss these people out and just be like, "You are a fucking piece of garbage." Like, I mean, what
Yeah.
are you fucking saying? Like, I understand that you're like 18 years old, but like, it's just like, but the fact that they call themselves the Wolf Pack, one of my buddies made a joke about this, and it was like so true, but it was so like they call themselves a wolf pack, and then but he was like, what do wolves do? And I was like, what? He
Yeah.
was like, they rape and they pillage, and I was like,
Damn.
fuck, because
Yeah.
like yeah, you heard a lot of stories from ladies that didn't
They
have
were
good experiences with these people.
yeah, they are
Um,
abusive pieces of shit.
yeah.
Yeah.
And
I had
so, and then
people that
it didn't help that a group of girls that would hang out with them called themselves like the Foxes or something. Didn't help that
ew.
either. So yeah, it was yeah. I grew up in a weird fucking high school, man.
It sucks.
Really
It
fucking
sucks.
weird.
It sucks that we're in these school systems, like the American school systems, where like, because that was the case in high school too, and we had like just a lot of shit where this high school just spent a lot of energy defending rapists, like these flat out
Yeah.
people, girls, multiple girls would go up to the administration and be like, this man who happens to be like kind of a privilege and has his dad sends the school a lot of money, has probably
Yeah.
raped a lot of people. So it's like, well, that surely can't be true or something. It's just like this. It's really gross that there's a lot.
True.
There's a lot of shit like that in school where there's a lot of defending of rapists. It's sad. At least we got Marilyn Manson.
We got him.
We got him.
Yeah.
And the Night Stalker.
Oh yeah, I want to watch that.
I do too.
Great.
That's also
he was a real knucklehead.
Yeah.
The Night Stalker, Ted Bundy, Hitler. They're real.
What a bunch of knuckleheads.
Yeah,
what a bunch of knuckleheads.
Yeah.
We are not about knuckleheads on this podcast.
Just a real dummy.
Ugh. I bet they. I hope that those guys all had bad SAT scores. I wished upon them bad knuckleheads.
I hope they got low SAT scores.
Yeah, man. I hope Ted Bundy. I hope Ted Bundy didn't get into his first choice of college because he's a knucklehead. He doesn't deserve a good SAT cards.
What a dummy.
Honors and all stuff.
Who's your favorite serial killer?
Yeah.
Bundy's up there.
Jeez, he's really interesting.
He's interesting. He was, fucking crazy.
Man.
Ed Gein.
Yeah, he's like had so many. He's had so many film adaptations. Yeah. Like he's had so many.
Person that is will wear people's skin.
Yeah.
Pretty interesting.
Yeah. Who's the cannibal? Who's the cannibal guy? The famous cannibal from Wisconsin.
Jeffrey Dahmer.
Dahmer. Yeah. Dahmer's been interesting because Eva went to school. Where she lived.
School with Dahmer.
Well, she's in her area of where she lived in Wisconsin was near
Milwaukee, where. Right?
Yeah, that's where Dahmer was, which is so crazy to think about. Hearing about his story was so disturbing because he was just like a normal fucking kid in high school, and then later his family said like, "Oh my fucking god."
Yeah, I gotta clip that.
I just wanted to clarify he didn't eat people.
He didn't eat people. He wasn't a cannibal.
He was
Jeffrey Dahmer didn't eat people?
Apparently not. No.
I think he ate people. Wait, who was thinking of though?
Oh my god.
We gotta clip that.
Eva just people who are just listening. Eva just scared the shit out of me, clarifying that Dahmer was not a cannibal, did not eat people.
Wait,
Actually,
he didn't? Okay, hold on.
he just
There's
there's a lot of cannibals, man. I don't know. But he would I think he would have he was necrophile and shit, you know.
He like have sex with dead bodies.
And he would like he made like shrines and stuff.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, pretty cool. Yeah, you know. Interior design, interior decoration. I'm into that. I like aesthetics, interesting aesthetics. My heart is not doing too well, man. Oh.
Relax. Everything's gonna be okay.
I seriously, you know this about me, that I have like whatever it is. I don't know if I just have a barely any awareness to my surroundings.
Dude, it's like one of my favorite things about you. You like just walk into the room and you just, oh my god, you scared me. I'm like, I just walked in here.
Now, can you imagine what Eva and I have to do, because this apartment's so small? If one of us wants to listen to music while the other one's like reading or some shit, we have to put in headphones. So imagine me.
I think that's what you're talking about.
Oh yeah. But imagine like already a person who's not aware of his senses losing hearing, right? And then Eva scares the shit out of me on almost a daily basis, because like I turn around and she just apparates out of nowhere, you know? She does exactly the shit that she just did, which is like, it's really cruel, you know, that she would sneak up on such a harmless and naive creature like myself after screaming at me.
Have you ever gone to a haunted house before?
Yeah, I actually really like haunted houses.
Really?
Yeah, I really like them.
Weirdest thing, man. I can't do them.
Really?
No.
Why?
I don't like people touching me.
Yeah, I never went to anyone that touched me.
Okay.
I don't think I would like that.
There's one. We get maybe by October we go through vaccinated and we can like travel.
Yeah.
Pittsburgh has one of the best haunted houses in America.
Yeah.
Apparently. It's called the Stair House. And like Guillermo del Toro went to it.
Oh,
like,
sick.
Like that's like the biggest quote that they have. This is one of the scariest things I've ever experienced. We should go and put GoPros on and just get our fucking reactions.
Yeah. Oh, dude.
I might have to. I love horror movies. We're gonna talk about a horror movie.
Yeah.
But like, I just can't. I can't do it when it's like real. But I think when it's weird, because I really want to appreciate it, because like haunted houses are such a cool concept, right? Because you're literally creating atmosphere. These people are literally creating an interactive horror movie, pretty much.
Yeah.
Really cool, you know. You do some really cool shit. Just amazing set design, and it's really cool. But
I think
I want to experience it.
Dude, the thing that's cool about haunted houses, the reason why I think like I like it, I don't do it gracefully. I am such a fucking bitch, you know.
Yeah.
And I think one of the reasons why one of the reasons I like going to them so much is because my reactions are so fucking bitch like that people they're really funny, so other people are laughing, so I enjoy making other people's laugh in my terror.
I think that's what people like about them.
Yeah. So it's like it's really, and the other thing that's nice is that, dude, it's a crazy adrenaline rush. It's like crazy.
Totally.
Because you're like,
that's why I love roller coasters.
Yeah.
Roller coasters. I'll ride
and
fucking roller coaster.
So it's like a roller coaster, but you don't have to go into death-defying heights. And for whatever reason, well, I know exactly why. The reason is because on a roller coaster, I feel like I'm going to die every time I go on.
Dude, that's like one of my favorite memories of you ever. It's like when we old coaster.
I had a fucking mental breakdown.
We went to Cedar Point, which is like a very famous roller coaster park here in Ohio.
Yeah.
Which I really want to go back with everybody and like go on like a day where there's not a lot of people.
Yeah, that was brutal.
We all have some money.
That day we
really
went.
put in some money and get the fast passes so we can like go and like ride the rides.
Yeah.
Jesse was like, you know, the whole time I was like, do you like roller coasters? And your response was like, yeah, I think so. Like, I don't know. I think so. And I'm like, all right, man, these roller coasters are pretty intense. And so we were in line for the first one, and Jesse was like so quiet. He was like, and I was like, oh man, like I was sitting there, I was like, oh man, this guy. I don't know if this is gonna do so well. And this one was kind of like not like an extreme one. I don't think this one is gonna went upside down. Like I don't think
No.
I don't think there was any loop or anything. And like you were like just in line and like didn't say anything. Like you said
God.
nothing. And then we got to the top and I'm like, "Are you ready?" He's like, "Yeah." And we got on, and there's like a mental image that I think about all the fucking time when I think about you. Is when we go, because I'm like hands up. I'm like I love
Having a
this
blast.
shit.
Fearless for whatever
And
reason.
I so there's a there's an incline. We go up. So we're going down, Jesse's screaming his fucking ass off. Like he's like, and I'm looking at him like, is he having fun? Like I don't know. And so and we go up a hill, like, and I look, I look at you, and we get to the top of this like hill. It's another drop. And I look at you, and you're like, you say like, oh my god! It's just like it's not like a oh my fuck. It's
Yeah.
like fun. It is like I'm gonna die. And it goes down, and then the best part about it was we ended, and you're like, oh, and I was like, did you like that? He was like, that was fun. I was like, what? Oh man,
Oh.
it was so funny, man. Oh,
I also
God.
remember when I was screaming, I was so fucking scared. I also heard, I must have been, I thought I was screaming so loudly, but I could still hear you, Jared, Tiffany, and fucking Nathan all
Yeah.
laughing at me because of how loud I was screaming. You were like hysterically laughing at me.
Man.
I was
Yeah.
like in line. I just remember collapsing on the side of the rail, like sweating and shit, and being
Yeah.
like, "I'm gonna throw up."
Dude,
Like
no,
I don't know
I've
if I
been
can
there.
do this.
It took me a while to like conquer that.
I forgot two key things about roller coasters. First of all, I forgot that it's been a long time since I've been on a roller coaster, and my personality is generally anti roller coaster. You know, it's
Yeah.
kind
Yeah.
of like
Yeah.
the water to my fire.
Mhm.
And the other thing I forgot is that you're a lot scared when you don't have your libido working for you. Because I remember
Yeah.
when I used to go on roller coasters, I would go on roller coasters with like girls that I was kind of like, oh, I'm kind of interested in you.
Sure,
You
yeah,
know,
yeah, that's a good point. That's a
and it's
good
like,
point.
and like
A really good point.
the thrill of like the
Yeah,
roller
you
coaster
don't wanna
really
bang me,
complemented.
you know?
Yeah. Yeah, it was so it was kind of like maybe it was like a machismo thing, or maybe it was just like my other senses were blinded by
Totally.
my
You're
like
I
by my
want to
dick, you
impress
know?
this lady, you know.
Yeah.
I want to be able to conquer my fear to this lady.
But
Yeah,
like
that's a really good
now,
point.
but like Eva wasn't there with us. She was smart. Her and Anthony were like, they didn't say it,
I
but
know,
they were
yeah,
like,
that's right.
it's like, no, we're not fucking with that shit
Yeah,
because
right.
that's how you die, you dumbass motherfuckers.
Nah, you
And I
don't
was
die
like,
on a roller coaster.
I was stupid, and I said, yes, friends, let's have fun on these joyrides, which are made for children. I didn't realize.
We rode one that you really enjoyed.
I like the one that the
It
thing
was
that
like the Galway one, right?
yeah.
It was like really smooth. It wasn't really fast.
See, the thing about me is that there was one roller coaster that I rode at like a Six Flags or something in Kentucky. And
Six
that was
Flags.
nice.
I'm gonna do a tons of Six Flags. Six Flags. They could be hit and miss.
Yeah, definitely. But this one, the roller coaster I went on, instead had like it where you just shot up and you went.
Oh,
I hate roller coasters because I'm really scared of heights. Like I'm really scared of heights. So the hardest thing for me is that slow incline to the top. It's just like I feel like I'm being hung. I'm being hung like an inch by inch. I'm slowly losing my breath.
So I am like obsessed with roller coasters. Fucking love them. And me and my buddy Don, shout out to Don. I'm shouting out a lot of my friends today.
You know, so many people, so many.
Look,
So far, 2, 3, including me.
We when one summer we went to like Hershey Park,
Yeah.
which is a theme park in Hershey, PA, where they make Hershey chocolate bars and they have a
Oh
theme park
my
ride.
God.
Yeah, it's pretty funny. And we went there. They have weirdly have awesome roller coasters there.
Yeah.
Um,
Interesting.
and we went to there, and then we went to Cedar Point all like in one summer.
Wow.
And like it was just by ourselves, just us two on like a
That's pretty
random
fun.
day. Dude,
That's
it was
fun.
so fun. But we love this shit. And there was one roller coaster. Like think about this. You don't like the incline, right? There's a
Hmm.
ride at Hershey Park that at the time was really famous because it had the steepest drop in America. It had the steepest like angle drop. It was something like 98 degrees or something. So it went like this.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think something beat it. It's not the steepest anymore, but it's still like I mean super steep. So
We had one
but
of those. Well, there was something like that at Cedar Point. They were claiming that they had
yes,
like a
Cedar Point,
crazy,
yes,
a
yes,
deep boy.
yeah. Cedar Point has like well, the one that we didn't ride because the line was too long was the top thrill dragster, the one that is
It's literally
insanely
just a
high.
drop.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, it's insanely high. I still haven't ridden that because we were in Cedar Point when me and Don were there. It wasn't working.
Yeah.
So that ride is super complicated because you have
See,
to get
like
really fast, and the magnets weren't propelling it as high as it needs to get.
if I were in your shoes and I
We were
went,
still, we'd get line and it would break, and then we'd come back. We'd be like,
yeah,
we gotta get on this.
yeah.
Even though it was breaking throughout the day, we were still like, I
Oh,
still wanna ride it.
I know that like a roller coaster, like if it's gonna break, it's not gonna break by like
No,
sending you into the stratosphere or
no.
collapsing. It's just
Especially
gonna come
Cedar
like,
Point.
but
Cedar
like
Point's one of the best amusement parks in the world.
but like still to me it's just like whenever I hear it's just like, oh, we were gonna go do this thing and I heard that it's breaking, it's like that is an omen that I would have died today if this had not
I
broken.
know, right? Yeah.
Thank the
um,
lords.
and so imagine this, riding the steepest one.
Yeah.
And the propel up, you are literally like this. Like you just see the sky.
No
You
thank
don't
you.
even see the track. You're literally like
No
when
thank
I
you.
first rode that, I was like, oh dude, I don't know about this. You know, because you don't even see you're literally like going straight up.
Yeah.
You're like, oh my fuck. Um
I would cry. Like I
yeah.
would legit at that point I would let go of everything holding me back and I would cry.
Oh man.
I would
Yeah.
cry. I would cry.
We'll go to Disney World. There's not extreme rides there. You'll like Disney World. Disney
Yeah.
World's fun. Disney World's great.
They have no gut wrenchers or any shit like that.
Speaking of Disney World, I remember when I was a kid when I was there. I've only gone Disney World once. I've gone Disneyland a couple times, but Disney World has a Winnie the Pooh ride,
Yeah.
and I remember like thinking it was like like as a child, like thinking it was the weirdest thing I had ever seen in that like ride I'd ever been on in my life. And I went online and I was like, look up like people riding it, like they put a camera as they're riding it. Dude, that ride, bro, like so it starts. It's just like a ride, like you just sit and it's just like a track. There's no drops or anything. It's just like
Yeah.
it's like an experience or whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
Bro, that ride is an action trip. I mean, I'm not even kidding. Like
Whoa.
it's literally Winnie the Pooh is like it starts you're in the 100 Acre Wood and like whatever, and Winnie eats like honey and he has a psychedelic experience on honey. So he
Yo.
like so like the ride turns into a psychedelic experience. So you're basically
Nice.
like Winnie the Pooh's like floating in like this black void, and it's like you're like what the fuck? And as a kid, I was like, what is going on?
That's
Yeah, it's
crazy.
funny. Yeah,
It
it's
would
really
be
cool.
it'd be wild to experience Disneyland on LSD. I feel
I
like that would be crazy.
People have done it so many times, man. And what's
Yeah.
great in Disney World, you don't have to do the acid, but get a fucking 50 milligram edible. You can do that. It's
Oh
legal in
yeah.
California. Just
Wow,
fucking
that's
eat it,
crazy.
walk on in.
Walk on in. Stop by the
Prepare.
dust by one. You know, it's going to happen at some point that Disneyland's going to have a dispensary. Disneyland's
Right.
going to start making more adult
I mean,
content. They're just
if
like,
they
well,
if they want to make money, that's
yeah,
what they do.
yeah.
Bro, I mean, parents that are with their kids are like, well, make these rides a little
Wow, can you imagine? That was smart. Right, you go to a Disney movie and you can say complimentary snack for the parents.
Complimentary snack. Scooby snack.
It's like, wow, Dad really likes the Scooby snack. It's like, yes, I do, son. Let's go see Scooby-Doo 76 again.
Let's go ride Winnie the Pooh again.
Yeah, man. We've been talking about all kinds of useless bullshit for a whole hour. Let's talk about something productive, like films.
Oh, yeah, we were a movie podcast. I always forget.
So,
we haven't talked about a movie this whole time.
Amazing. Not one. Wow. Amazing. It's like they didn't exist. So we had technical difficulties and we did a switcheroo. We're not talking about Naked. That's a lie.
No.
We're not doing it. What are we talking about?
So I guess Naked is not available. It's on the Criterion channel.
I couldn't find it on Amazon.
It might have been available, but I guess not. So we switched movies, and this is actually a new movie. This is actually a new release. What?
Wow.
This is the first 2021 movie of the year. I think this movie came out in 2020, kinda.
Yeah.
But it's really come out this year for rent more. No,
like availability to the public. Yeah.
Now. And this is a movie called Possessor. And the first time I heard about this movie, funny enough, was my sister. Shout out to Mary Bell. She.
You know 3 people.
I know like 3
people.
Oh my crazy. God. 4 people, including you. And so she went to Sundance. She worked at the Sundance Film Festival, not this year, obviously. Last year. She was there, and she, when you're a volunteer there, you get privileges. You could go see a certain amount of films. And she saw this movie a year ago.
Yeah.
I remember her talking about this. She texted me and was like, you gotta see this. When it comes out, you gotta see this new Possessor.
Yeah.
And I was like, I had it on my list, and I was like, will do. As soon as I can watch it, I will watch it.
Yeah.
And there was a couple things that really interested me about this movie. Is that one, it's a sci-fi horror movie, dude, and it put that label.
Very cool.
I'm in. I will watch it. And then number 2, this is directed by Brandon Cronenberg, who is
sound familiar?
He's the son of world famous British filmmaker David Cronenberg, who is extremely well known for making some of the most iconic body horror movies of all time, some of the most iconic movies in general, period.
Yeah.
Amazing filmmaker. Absolutely love David Cronenberg, especially his early films. And even some of his later films that I've seen, absolutely love, like A History of Violence. He's an amazing, amazing, amazing director. So clearly, I want to see what his Spawn, made, and
yeah.
And I heard some people who I follow on Twitter and who review movies and stuff were tweeting about this, saying it's great. And so I rented it, and I fucking loved this movie. I thought this was fucking awesome. And it was exactly what I wanted. This is a body horror movie. This is like a awesome sci-fi horror movie, but it has that Cronenberg fucking gore. It has that Cronenberg gore. It has that Cronenberg kind of style. But this isn't a David Cronenberg movie. It is definitely, you can tell that it's definitely his son, making this, or definitely Cronenberg worship in a way, but he definitely makes it his own movie, and I'm
It's
definitely curious to see what he does after this. You know,
yeah,
because this was a really, really good movie. You know.
I think that the first thing I wanted to talk about was just how kind of elegant of Cronenberg worship this was,
Uh-huh.
because I was kind of thinking about it, because it's obvious that this is so Cronenberg, but at the same time it's so not Cronenberg because it's so like its own thing
Yeah.
too,
Right. Which is like
because
perfect. That's exactly what
yeah,
you,
it,
you, you wanted. You know.
because when like looking at this film, what I was concerned about was that it could be an interesting. I'm all about the Cronenbergian shit, you know. I'm
Right.
into that stuff.
Yeah.
We're both into that stuff.
Yeah.
But I just didn't want a movie that was gonna be kind of Cronenberg, but just make me wish I was watching
Yeah.
OG
Right.
real ass
Or
Cronenberg.
derivative. You know,
But yeah,
derivative of
derivative, that
Cronenberg.
it was going to be
Yeah.
derivative. But
Yeah.
that the cool, it's so cool with this movie that it really is just sort of building off of just this hyper original, very
Yeah.
disturbing kind of story, which has the same sort of themes
Right.
of
All the
David
Cronenberg films.
Cronenberg.
Yeah.
And
Most
it's
notably, like maybe like something like Dead Ringers, a little bit of Videodrome, a little
yeah.
bit of like there's definitely a bunch of different Cronenberg shit in this, that you can like point to,
It feels like I wouldn't call it necessarily a modernization of Cronenberg, because it is. I still feel like it's more. It's like It's Brandon. His first name's Brandon, right? The
Mm-hmm.
director.
Mm-hmm.
Brandon has his own sort of unique style still. That's
Yeah,
not
totally.
just
Yeah,
emulating his dad,
right.
but it is a bit like a digital update. It's like it's a
Sure. Yeah,
digital. It's a
right.
digital Cronenberg
Right.
film, which is
Yeah.
really neat.
And so, what this movie is about is in the title, Possessor. So, what that means is that this is a world, this is an alternate reality kind of future, alternate future, alternate reality,
Yeah,
where
it's ambiguous.
it's ambiguous. That's the best what it should be.
Always a good decision.
And so so what it's about is that our lead character's boss, she is a possessor. So what she does is that there's a machine in this world that will allow you to possess another body. And she works for a company, an organization, secret operative,
It's
whatever,
ambiguous.
ambiguous, that basically sends her to possess other people to carry out assassinations, different missions and stuff, which is a fucking awesome concept. Amazing
Absolutely
sci-fi
awesome.
concept. And it's so 90s as fuck. Like this is totally, this is like, it just reminded me of some like awesome kind of horror movies and like body horror movies that came
Yeah.
out like the 90s and the 80s and stuff. And, but what makes this, you know, more than just a kind of B horror movie, kind of fun, kind of gore fest. There is this movie is really disturbing. It's
Mm-hmm.
truly disturbing, and the themes of it, and some of the trajectory that the characters go, and the um, just the whole vibe, especially in the second half, it gets very, very dark and
Yeah.
very disturbing. Um, but yeah, where should we start? Should we start with how this movie opens?
Yeah, I think we should just sort of work our way through it,
Yeah,
because it was really, it's a completely unpredictable film. You really have to
for
just
sure.
sit and watch
Yeah,
it,
yeah,
which is another great thing about it, because and it's also awesome because it wasn't that it defied my expectations. It was just so fresh and new that I had no idea what to expect from
yeah,
the
right.
beginning of the
Yeah,
movie.
right.
Um, I really liked seeing Mandy, this actress who played Mandy.
Oh
Uh
shit, that's
yeah,
so. I didn't even think of that. I was like, dude, where have I seen her? Yeah, that's
Yeah.
so, yeah, you're right.
So it's cool to
Yeah.
see her play a bit more of a involved role, like a lead
Yes.
character.
Yes. Yeah.
Which she still actually has. I don't know if she has as much screen time as the guy that she possesses, but she still has a lot of
I don't
screen
know.
time.
I don't know.
But anyway, she does. She's incredible performances. I love the
Great
performances in
All
this
of them are
movie.
great. Yeah,
Oh, and they
great.
also have that other lady who's like the director of the mysterious
Yeah, Jennifer Jason
organization.
Leigh. Yeah.
She's in Annihilation. She's
Yeah.
in The
Hateful
Twin Peaks
Eight,
Return,
you
Hateful Eight.
know,
She's
yeah,
like
great
really
actress.
cool
Been
like
around for years.
character
Yeah.
actress. Would you call her a character
Yeah, for
actress?
sure.
She's
Yeah.
great. I like
Yeah.
her a lot.
Yeah.
But like I guess the opening starts. Oh my god, yeah, the opening it starts in the possession, you know.
Yeah, so the opening starts with this what I love about the opening shot, the opening sentence of this movie is it is going to, if you don't like the first sentence of this movie, just fucking just get out, you know?
Yeah, it
If
only
it's
gets
threatening
worse.
you and it's just, you can't do it, just fucking turn it off, you know? So when it starts with these cornrows, black woman with cornrows, she sticks this fucking needle in her head.
In her head.
And she's looking in the mirror and she's crying, she's smiling, she's doing all these um, emotions, right? Which we later learn is the recalibration of this possessor machine. But we don't know that in the beginning of this film.
And which is so great to have to open with that moment. Again, if you wanted a director, this was such a cool way to shoot this, to sort of withhold that information from us, but because it's more focusing on the emotional toll, which is what the movie's about. It's about the emotional toll of this job, as opposed to explaining what is this technology. And when you're just looking at that, you're just seeing this really weird performance from this woman. And it sort of and I was a little, I wasn't concerned, but I thought the movie might have been something where we're just sort of following this character who's kind of like in the lighthouse, has this experience with reality that's not very concrete, you know? Because the character's sort of like phasing in and out. But anyway, so she leaves the bathroom and she seems weird. She just seems so weird. And it builds on this as this woman sort of gathers up with other people, and it eventually leads to her sort of meeting some kind of important figure, and she just stabs her in the fucking neck, and then tries to shoot herself in the face, can't, and then gets shot by cops, and then we're introduced to the whole possessor situation. Pull me out. Pull me out. Pull me out. Pull me out.
So that was the way the movie opens, which is fucking badass, right?
It's
super fucking awesome. And what I love about that setup is that, like, you know, after that thing, I was just thinking about this world and how, like, even like from the minute got seen, I was like, man, this is such a like fucked up organization. This fucked up thing that they're doing, because they're literally possessing other people to um to basically secretly assassinate people, but sacrificing a human life to do so. And what I love about that, we don't really know much about that specific mission, but we later learn with Colin, right? Colin, that's the guy.
That's the guy who she possesses.
Colin, you know, there's an alibi there, you know. So when the cops, it makes sense why he would maybe kill this certain person, right? So there's an interesting thing there where the people that they choose to possess and how they're attached to this certain person that they're trying to kill is really smart, but it is fucked up. You know, they're basically you know, manipulating, you know, people on such a deep level. Imagine if this was real. Imagine if, like, any minute you could think that you could be possessed. You know, I kept thinking, I kept telling my dad, I was like, imagine if this was real. Like, imagine if, like, everybody in the world knew of this place, and that, like, everybody would be walking and be like, oh, I could be possessed at any moment. Like I could
Yeah.
just, like that's like people would be like looking at like what the fuck, man.
Right. And
But it's
it's one of
secret. No one knows about this place.
yeah. But yeah, and it's one of those things too that it's like which I think he did it was a really good decision to leave sort of the explanation of how I really like that he left all of that ambiguous, how it
Oh
actually
yeah,
worked, how the
100%. Oh
administration
yeah,
worked,
yeah,
because it put it in a place that made it really disturbing because it related enough to reality and sort of these mysterious and vicious killings that don't necessarily have an answer
right.
or that seem planned and stuff that could make it seem like, oh, maybe all those things that I have questions about could be this, you know?
Uh-huh.
So even though it's completely not of our world, it's still really relatable in the horror and this thinking about like, well, man, what if that like happened?
Yeah.
What if that happened to me?
Yeah.
What would that be
Oh man.
like? And it's
I don't
really,
know, man.
really
It's crazy.
disturbing.
So disturbing. And so, and then after that opening scene, we see that we learn like Goss, like when she gets out, she's asked to kind of describe these personal things.
Yeah.
So apparently, uh, if you're in there too long and it can fuck up your mind, and you kind of lose your memories, you kind of lose the sense of who you are. And
Yeah.
so these devices are used to make sure that you're still there, right? That you're
Yeah.
still boss when you get in there. So she's describing this pipe, my grandfather's pipe. This is the butterfly that I killed. I had sympathy for it, um, and
Oh, she felt guilt
she
for it.
felt guilt. Yeah,
Yeah.
guilt. And so, and then we're like introduced to kind of maybe the emotional kind of pull, the emotional core to this movie is Boss and her family,
Mm-hmm.
Michael and her kid. And this is like the most interesting aspect to this movie to me, and how like this the family aspect and her like almost like detachment for her family and how this job is basically pulling her away from her loved ones um and the way that it's portrayed in this movie is extremely visceral and disturbing
Mm-hmm.
because when you first see um her go to Michael's house, it is weird. I mean, it is strange.
Yeah, when she's
It,
practicing what she's trying to say, like
yeah,
hello
I mean,
darling and stuff
yeah,
like
hello,
that.
darling.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's strange, and it gets even weirder when he, she, they have a weird dinner or whatever, and they have sex, and then after they have sex, she basically she is picturing killing him or
Yeah.
picturing this the knife in the throat that she did in the previous in her bot in the her previous job.
Yes, yeah.
So that's the first instance that this job might be manipulating her psyche a little bit,
Yeah.
um, and uh, and so she immediately wants to go back to work. You know, she calls and says, "Hey, I'm ready. I'm ready to work."
Yeah.
And she didn't really take a break, or she just kind of wants to go back immediately. And the first half of this movie is very structured like a traditional kind of badass kind of sci-fi movie, right? Where it's like
Yeah.
this cool device, this cool concept, the kind of the spy mission, right? Where
Yeah,
she has
yeah.
to she's
Interesting
possessing this
character.
guy, gotta kill this guy. It's gotta manipulate other people. It's gotta like learn this person's
Yeah.
life. Really cool shit, man. It's like really cool sci-fi spy shit. Not until the second half where it gets kind of the body
Yeah.
horror, the horror aspect to it.
Which there
Uh,
was actually something also about this first part of this movie that really before like shit goes down really when she goes into the possession that I thought was really kind of strange. First of all, I thought the cinematography in this
oh
film
yeah, it's great.
was breathtaking.
Yeah, it's
It's
incredible. Yeah,
like up
very
there
well
with
made.
Nicholas Winding Refn.
Yeah, I
Um,
always
I
thought of
the
that.
colors in this film, I really love this sort of new color trend. I'm thinking of Uncut Gems, Safdie Brothers
Yeah,
films, and
right,
stuff like that,
right.
where they have these digital this digital color correction style that feels like they're trying to make it look like a film shot on film, but they're more saturated than film is. They're more saturated and perfect, and I love the way that those colors look. And I think that that this has this kind of coloring and I love it. But there was a couple of weird things that I couldn't really I thought was weird. First of all, it kind of bothered me that like the whole beginning, before we get into this, he decided to do it in pseudo handheld, so a lot of these beautiful compositions were just like slightly moving all the time, which is like, okay, maybe she's just mentally unstable and you're trying to show that through the camera direction, but it was just really distracting. And I was really worried that the whole film was going to be like that, but once she possessed the guy, it got steady, which I was so grateful for, because to me it enhanced the compositional beauty of this film so much more than when it was sort of just swaying ever so slightly. It probably won't bother many people, but it's a pet peeve of mine. It just drives me crazy when shots are handheld, when it's just like, this is a beautiful composition, and I don't want my paintings to be jittering around all over the place. I don't like my paintings moving. Anyways, but the other thing too was I thought it was really weird, especially during the dinner scene that Voss had with her husband Michael. He shot it all where he didn't give them look space, and he shot, you know what I mean? So like, and I don't quite understand why he did that. And he did it every single time for the beginning. And it's like, you obviously know how to technically shoot scenes like this, to give, and look space means that in a 3/4 shot, that if you should have a character, if they're looking to the right, you should have space in front of them looking to the right to make it feel like they're looking at something. But what he had is he had a whole bunch of space to their back behind where they were looking. So it was like the person is just looking at the wall. I couldn't really think of any reason besides the fact that maybe Voss was just super disconnected.
That's what I thought when I was watching it.
I thought it would have been more effective if she was the only person who didn't have look space and everyone else did have look space. Again, kind of like a weird like thing that I just struck me that I didn't really notice throughout the rest of the film, but like was just like right there, was just like, why is there no look space? Again, just maybe more of a nitpick than anything else, but like those are like my only two criticisms of the movie, I would say. But like, anyway, so now we're in the scene where she possesses this guy, right? Where she possesses Colin. And the possession scene was crazy. It reminded me of the Beyond the Black Rainbow really tripped out sequence a little bit, because we
sure, well, so like it's like that weird, it's super weird, right, where it's like almost like this wax kind of turning into wax, and kind of like these snippets of like these like memories, and like I hardly describe, but it's very like super.
It's very abstract.
Very abstract. But
I thought it was
looks awesome.
It was such a much more effective way than like doing a wormhole effect or something like that.
Totally.
Because it was because the cool thing about this movie is how much they focus not so much on the literal technicality of it. This is what's cool about David Cronenberg, Big Papa Cronenberg too, is that all of his films are so psychological. And directors just don't tend to do that, because they think about like film is about what you can see, right? It's about what you can see, the tangible. But this movie and Papa Cronenberg's movies are more about what you can't see, and how what you can't see slowly turns into what you can see. And that is so that's kind of like a moment like that I thought was so well executed about that transferal to the possessee, was how well it captured like the fragmenting of your own psyche as you turn into this other person. Cool, really cool.
Awesome. Yeah, dude, I love that scene. And then what I also love is before she transfers, she's spying on
and practicing.
Colin. I love that, man.
Yeah, me too.
Like such a little cool moment of like her like it's just like it's just, I've never seen the sci-fi like this concept done. Really, where like I guess like there's definitely been some movies where like I can't really think of any, but like characters that can you can possess another. There's gotta be, right? I mean,
Yeah.
I can't think of. There's gotta be, but
Well, like the brilliant thing about this concept is that it's utterly unique, but he's able to pull on like filmic expression in the same way that a doppelganger movie kind of can. So
yeah,
there's like this
yeah, right,
similarity to Dead
yeah,
Ringers. But
right,
the thing I
right,
really think it's the most similar to, the only thing I could compare it to is Lost Highway and Twin Peaks,
yeah,
which
right,
which
yeah,
the Lost Highway thing kind of has that blending of two people
yeah,
in a
right,
similar way as Possessor.
yeah.
And then Twin
Possessor
Peaks,
is
yeah,
way more clear than that's
yeah,
happening.
yeah, and Lost
Yeah,
Highway, and it's
right,
more like Lost Highway is more of like a possession through juxtaposition, and
yeah,
like
right.
Possessor is like this is what's
No, this is
happening.
happening.
But
Yeah,
like Twin Peaks has, especially in the Return, there's a I guess I don't really want to spoil it, but there's like a factor that's like this
right,
that
yeah,
will like essentially possess people and take over your personality,
right,
but be in a
yeah,
host's body.
right.
And that's like, but the thing, even that is left, you don't quite this movie is like if you were in the mind of one of those people in Twin Peaks. If you're Twin Peak fans,
Sure,
if you know what I'm
yeah,
talking about,
right.
if you're in the mind of, well, I won't say it because I don't want to spoil it because I know
Yeah.
you haven't seen it. But yeah, it was so satisfying because it was so familiar. Like I can almost
Right.
describe what this is like, but
Yeah.
I just can't because it's so
Yeah.
different than anything I've seen before.
And so when she possesses Colin, like that's when the movie like gets a lot a lot trippier. So
Yeah.
like when he like when because like I love how he shot those certain scenes and the performance that Colin did, the actor, I can't
He
remember his
was
name, but
crazy
he's
good.
great in this movie because he has to play. He's also amazing in the second half when he has to do some really weird and interesting things with kind of the, the, the two personalities like coming in
Yeah.
front. That's what's so cool about this movie is that this is a movie that I think on repeat viewings is going to be even more interesting because there's a lot of ambiguity, especially in the second half, where who's in control,
Yeah.
who's not. Very, very cool stuff going on with that, and that actor had to give like these performances that felt different and
Yeah.
but also like ambiguous at the same time, and
Yeah,
he was
he
really great.
was he might be actually the factor that makes this whole movie work,
I
because
think
if he
so. Yeah.
if he really didn't get those minute shifts down like you're talking
Right.
about, this movie would just be nonsensical.
Yeah. Yeah.
It would be so hard to follow.
Right.
But and it's not like it's not and you're right, you're not following, it wouldn't be interesting if you knew exactly what was happening all the time. It just
Right.
has that, it has enough guidance to know, to see shifts in personalities, like what's going on, like what
Yeah.
stage we're at, and
Right.
then asking questions and trying to put together clues about like
Yeah.
who's in control and stuff. And we also have the factor of like neither of these characters being very reliable narrators, because their perspectives is so
Yeah.
fucking warped and fucked
Yeah.
up that
Yeah.
we don't really know. It's like, can we trust what they see and experience?
Yeah.
Even like
Yeah.
we can't really say that.
Right. Yeah, that's a good. That's a good point. And then, so the mission that Voss is given is to kill basically Jeff Bezos. Uh,
Yeah.
basically kill Jeff Bezos. And
Who's not CEO of Amazon anymore? Isn't that crazy?
yeah, it's nuts. But yeah, it's Zulu, right? Is that what the company in this movie is called? I think it's called Zulu or
Yeah, I missed
Zoo
it.
Through. Zoo Through. That's what it's called.
Through.
And it's a data
I
mining
like
company.
Zulu better. I wish it was Zulu. Through. All
and
right.
and it's basically Amazon. It's like a data mining kind of company where it's like it's not Amazon. It's like a surveillance kind of company.
Yeah.
And this Colin guy works there, and this was really cool to me, where his job when he get when she
Basically
goes,
the NSA.
yeah, when they put on these virtual reality goggles, and it's like that's his office, you know.
Yeah.
Which is like, I saw that and I was like, "God, how did that not? That is what it's gonna be like in like 15 years. Like all these people who are in cubicles and stuff are just gonna be up against the
VR.
wall wearing like VR goggles because the companies will have to pay for, desks, computers, anything. They can just pay for these
That's gonna
VR
be crazy.
headsets.
That's gonna be fucking crazy.
Everybody's gonna be working in like virtual, desks, which is probably better because they can make their desk as cool as they want it to be. They
Yeah.
can whatever. But but so he's in there and it's basically survey. I mean, he's watching like all these kind of hidden camera like
Yeah.
footage
With
and
still like, yeah, within the, yeah, I know I was, yeah. He's in a virtual reality office
yeah.
with a computer which has this
Yeah.
video
Yeah.
footage
Yeah.
of like random people's
Yeah.
webcam shit.
And he is, Colin's character was given this job from the CEO's, uh, like his girlfriend is the CEO's daughter, and he
Yeah.
was given this job from the CEO, and it's the most low level job we could have at this company,
Yeah.
and so we basically are just kind of living through. He's kind of, uh, Voss is kind of just getting information, kind of trying to figure out how, like, when to do this, where to do it, and he
Yeah.
finds, and he has to go to this party.
But,
But
but it's
before
also
that,
it's also great during this moment because you don't know how well Voss is doing at performing at being him. We have a
yeah,
couple of
right, yeah,
strange
right,
where
exactly,
we have
yeah,
a couple of strange interactions with his girlfriend,
yes, and
Colin's
the
girlfriend.
friends, yeah,
Yeah, and
who
the
are
friends.
the worst people ever,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
And they're actually, yeah, one of the friends is exactly the type of guy we
yep,
were talking about earlier.
yep,
Yeah, so I thought that was such a great point of tension because it's like this heist thing
yeah,
where you're in a heist and you're trying to pretend to be something. It's like, oh, when are they going to find out he's actually the secret agent? But
yeah,
she's like, it's a flawless plan because she's not pretending to be someone.
right.
She
Oh,
is
what
that
this reminds me
person.
of too? A little bit of Inception, like the
Yeah.
beginning of this,
Yeah, sure,
because
totally.
of the kind of supernatural or sci-fi kind of heist thing going on.
Yeah.
You
It
know?
has I think that's one of those things about it is that it has all these references and things that are familiar, but it just takes them and repurposes them
Yeah,
in
right. Yeah,
just a possessor only
yeah,
kind of
right.
way.
Yeah,
Um
and so yeah. With that, with like him trying to, um, like be Colin and like these weird moments. One of my favorite things about this is like these moments of like Colin sees like these weird
oh, that was
light
one of my favorite
like
parts.
things, and
So David Lynch.
so clearly there's something going on with the possession and the possessor in the scene, possibly, and that's our first instance that maybe Voss isn't fully in control,
Yeah.
and maybe she's on the verge of losing control of Colin, um, and so then we can flash to the party, you know, where he's gonna, execute this mission where it's
Yeah.
Sean Bean, who's a fucking awesome actor,
Yeah.
who's in
This
so
is
many
wait.
iconic movies.
Sorry, this is after the sex scene, right? Because I want to
Yeah,
talk about
oh
the
yeah,
sex scene too.
the sex
But
scene. Sure,
we
yeah.
talk about we can talk about the party scene first
Well,
because
yeah,
the sex
the
scene
sex scene.
is
The
kind of
sex scene is
also
kind of like similar to that, where she kind of like has these weird moments.
yeah.
Like,
We can
yeah,
talk about the sex scene in the moment after the party scene all at the same time. So let's talk about
yeah.
the party scene.
So like yeah, so he goes to the party and so basically Jennifer Jason Leigh's character tells him that he needs to get kicked out and have a distraction. Well, an alibi, which is brilliant. Where this character Colin is going
Yeah.
to get kicked out and kill the CEO, and that would be an alibi, right? For the cops to be like, okay, he got in a fight, and this led him to kill this person. So there's no confusion of, the investigation of why would this guy kill
Yeah.
CEO. It's
Yeah.
brilliant. And so if I was making a heist and I was Jennifer Jason Leigh's character, I would have thought of that. That's brilliant.
Yeah.
That's good.
I wouldn't think of good job, heist master.
Assassination queen.
Yeah.
And so, and he basically gets a fight with Sean Bean drunk, and this is like the first moment where you get that Voss enjoys this, enjoys kind of
Yeah.
killing people, or maybe is relishing in the act of
Violence.
violence, because this is where the gore really comes in. Did you watch the uncut version?
I don't think so. I
So
don't
apparently there's
know.
an uncut version. I don't know if I saw the
Oh,
uncut version.
I watched the version on Hulu, which had an
Okay.
NR, like a not
Oh, I
rated
don't know if it's
version on it.
Hulu. I rented it. I don't know if it's on Hulu.
You fucking scrub! I watched it
Yeah.
for free.
Yeah, man, I don't know if it's on Hulu. Anyway, fuck. Um, but this is when like she could have shot him
Yeah.
in the head.
Yeah.
Game over, over. But instead, she gets a fire pick and she beats the fucking shit out of him.
Yeah.
Fucking, this shit was gory.
I had to watch between like my fingers crossed because it
dude.
was so intense. I haven't seen
Yeah.
something that intense in a long, long time.
Stabs him in the head and just pushes it deeper in the fucking oh, dude, it's so awesomely gory.
Did you see the shot with like his teeth kind of popping out?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, teeth popping out, and then he
Yeah.
like got under his eyeball too, and it's great.
I
It's
didn't
all
see that part.
yeah. She stabbed in my version. She stabs him. She takes it out of his mouth while he's still alive, and like stabs him shallowly in like the eye socket and pops out his eye.
Eye part.
It was gross. It was really gross.
I have to watch it again. Watch the uncut version. But
did you see Dick? Did you see Dick in yours?
No, I didn't see Dick.
What?
Where's Dick?
Dude, there. Okay, so that's one of. So maybe the sex scene wasn't like. Did you have that sex scene with like between?
His girlfriend?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
yeah.
Yeah.
And because in the sex scene and his girlfriend, there's one shot of where he transforms like into like the Voss apparates, takes the place of him, and as she's having sex with a girlfriend, and she has a big penis.
Yeah,
like
I definitely didn't see that.
It's a crazy shot where it's like a shot that pans up and it's like a man penis, but well, it starts with her and it goes down to like her man penis, which is like this great sort of like, it's this moment that I think could be like this a great depiction of maybe gender dysphoria, or just like how fucking disturbing this is to have to do shit like that.
I was like, this is weird. Like this is like such a weird, because she obviously like this must be a weird experience.
Yeah. Did you also didn't see that when oh fuck, what's his name? What's the guy's name? Colin. When Colin was working, that there was literally they showed porn. The full frontal vag.
I saw that. Yeah.
Okay. They showed that, but they took out. That just goes to show what censorship will do. They're not about dick. They don't like dick.
I don't really get that.
It was like a full-fledged vag. Like the dick was.
Why show gags? No pee-pee. Why?
Yeah, come on.
I would like why? Like why? For real.
That was one of my favorite. I like seeing the dick in this movie. It's always refreshing to see dick in movies. I like it.
I kind of like it in that respect because it's rare.
Yeah.
It's kind of cool when you see it because it's rare.
Yeah.
But like, it's weird that like they had to take that out and it's in the uncut version. Like, what?
Yeah.
Why? But anyway, but yeah, so that scene happens, and she basically, and Colin just shoots, the girlfriend, and this is when the movie turns into a fucking horror movie.
Yeah.
Scary ass movie.
Yeah,
So
because this is the point where the heist is over, and it's
the
already
heist is
like it's
over,
only
and
45
this is
minutes
when
in.
Colin is taking over. This is
Yeah,
when kind of the blending of the two starts to happen, right?
yeah,
Where so she's like pulling out, can't do it, can't shoot himself, and Colin is stopping that from happening, but
yeah.
most likely, right?
And we have this other. It's shot to this moment where, like you go into Colin's head,
Yeah,
and you have this. It's like shot in this red smoky light, and you have these really ambiguous, weird, disturbing Cronenberg,
yeah.
classic Cronenberg shots where it's the thing I remember the most is like they're conjoined by this weird, it looks
Oh
like it's
yeah, dude.
like this weird fleshy thing that's probably like
So
paper mache
awesome.
or
Yeah,
something,
so
and
cool.
like they rip apart,
Yeah,
and she's like left behind, and he has
so good.
like some of her face still on it.
Yeah, so
She kind
good.
of looks like a clicker or something with like
Yeah,
all the shit
Clicker.
on his
Yeah,
head.
he's so good.
um and then
So
he's
good.
like in control and somewhat. Yeah, dude, it is
So
so.
he becomes control, and then we're kind of flashing back to like what's happening with the possessor machine, and
Yeah,
Ross like vomits up blood, like just all
yeah.
that
Oh yeah, because
blood.
he like stabs himself in the gut or
Yeah,
something,
stabs himself
or
in the gut.
yeah.
Right.
Even though there's
And
no wound on him, which is cool.
yeah,
They never just show that he has a wound. You know,
right.
it's like he
And
stabbed her in the gut somehow.
yeah, which is kind of cool. And then this is when we just like super trippy because this is
It's
when the ambiguity begins because you
yeah,
don't know who's really taking forefront. You kind of sometimes do with more like visual stuff going on
yeah,
that is clear, like in that red smoke and awesome shots of like
yeah.
clearly who's
Yeah,
in the
yeah.
possession.
I think it's like fair to say from that point on, he's dominant like throughout,
Yeah,
but and
right.
she kind of phases into control,
Yeah.
but he's mostly dominant like throughout the rest of the
And
movie.
what I like about this is Colin is confused of why he doesn't know what he's doing. You know,
Yeah,
he's you know killing these people, and he basically becomes a serial killer. You know, he
yeah.
starts killing people left and right.
It's crazy.
He goes to his uh uh friend's house who he's sleeping with apparently,
Yeah,
and kills her. You know, and that scene's great too, because like that's like she. There's a moment where Colin just goes, Michael, and it's just like,
whoa.
what?
Yeah,
And it just kind of flips, and it's really cool, man. It's super fucking awesome shit, man. It was awesome. It was like
yeah,
such, like, it's just such mind-bending sci-fi shit that's not like over the top mind-bending, where it's like so it's hard to like wrap your head around it.
yeah.
It's like the perfect, like awesome, like just sci-fi horror movie shit.
Well,
You
and
know?
I think the other thing that he does a really good job of is he creates something like you're describing, but he also doesn't fall into some of the problems that I think Papa Cronenberg sometimes does, which like what's that one movie like the like Z something, you know, it's like about a video game
Oh,
or something.
Eccleston. Yeah,
Yeah, which is a
yeah,
cool ass
it's a
movie, but
cool
that
movie.
movie kind of struggles from a problem about like trying to be more clever than it actually is.
Sure, yeah, yeah,
And I think that he really does a great job of navigating that, like just doing clever and shit, raining on being pretentious,
yeah,
and really
right,
brings it down to he just keeps it so visceral and emotional, and
right,
he's really tight in the,
yeah,
it feels like a musician like really in the pocket. Have you
yeah,
ever heard of like the pocket
yeah,
in
oh
like
yeah,
music? Yeah, like that's what it feels like. He just does a really good job and just sitting
yeah,
in this emotional pocket this whole movie. It's
yeah.
sick. It's
And
sick.
then another one of my favorite things too is after that happens, his friend comes over and so you think it's his friend that is just like there to like help him out or
Yeah, from
whatever.
earlier in work, the scumbag we were mentioning
Yeah.
earlier.
And oh yeah, that's right. I was talking about the girls too. All the
Oh yeah,
other
yeah.
everyone is kind of a scumbag.
Yeah, well,
But
they're like the rich they're rich
right.
fucks.
Yeah, exactly,
They are the
right.
worst of the
I
worst
thought,
kind of rich
yeah, right,
people.
exactly, yeah. And so when he comes over, and it turns out that that's his lifeline. He's also possessed, and he
Yeah,
stuns
yeah.
him, and
I
this.
think he's just like working in the industry. Sorry, it's not really that important.
No, I
Uh,
think wasn't he possessed though?
I don't think so. I think he was just a guy he was a plant. He was a
Oh, he
plant
was a
in that
plant. Okay, but he was
industry.
okay. He was. Are you sure?
Yeah, because there's not a lot of people who can be possessed. It's not like a thing. That's why Voss is so special, because she's like one of their
Okay,
agents,
I was
and
under the
they
impression that they said. I guess at the end
that's what happens at the ending. But
yeah,
I don't
yeah, and
think
maybe
I
I'm
think
getting that confused. But
I'm
so
pretty
he was a plant though. He was working with.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
yeah, okay,
That guy was just faking it
okay.
earlier
But he
on.
was okay. But anyway, that scene is maybe my favorite scene of the movie.
Yeah.
When he stuns him and he's trying to maybe like recalibrate and get Voss back in the front, we get this crazy scene where it is this um definitely a blending of the two, and we see, dude, this was so fucking cool. Like when like
This
uh
scared the fucking shit out of me. This
yeah,
really
when
creeped me
it's
out.
like flipping from Voss and um Colin kind of fighting in the kind of in their minds kind of fighting, but the way that it's
Yeah.
like presented is in such a fucking cool way.
Yeah,
Where it's like, yeah, it's so good.
I was so creeped out by her being on the bed, and this character is describing it's going to be difficult for you to breathe while it's in the signal.
Yeah, right.
And you see Caleb like in these flashes between the reality and the mind,
Yeah,
as which it's so cool
so
because
cool.
in reality it's Caleb on the bed, but in the mind it's Voss on the bed, and Caleb
Yes,
is trapped in the
so
mind.
fucking cool.
So we have this flashing between two shots of Caleb on the bed and then Voss on the bed, with Caleb slowly like approaching her. Like
Yeah,
that
so
that
good,
shot is
so good.
so creepy, and
Yeah,
like,
so
and then he gets
awesome.
on and like starts choking her
Choking her.
and shit, and
Yeah.
and then the mask stuff,
Oh yeah.
dude,
Yeah,
that
man.
was
It's
crazy.
crazy because there was a couple things that I kept thinking. It was like,
It reminded me
it's
of
so
Hereditary.
funny because
No, Midsummer.
this,
That
yes,
one guy in Midsummer.
yes, which, that's a side note. I still don't really understand that character in Midsummer,
Yeah.
but
He's
that
creepy.
and the little girl, I still just don't
Yeah.
understand. I
Yeah.
think it was just there to be creepy. But anyway, um, but Um, there was a couple things that I was thinking about during that scene.
Yeah. Yeah.
'Cause I was thinking about this and I was like, man, this is what I wanted my script. I wrote a script in college where I had like this like masked serial killer kinda, and like there was like a moment at the end where like the main character like basically puts on this mask, kind of. I don't even know what I was doing. Like I don't know like what I really wanted that to entail and like what I wanted that to be. But when I watched this, I was like, yeah, like this is what I was kind of going for. Um,
Yeah.
and but like that is such a fucking cool ass moment
Yeah.
where, and it's so, that's the poster. You see the poster of this movie. It's the shot of like Lost face over Colin. But he's basically uh, taking over basically.
Yeah.
When we
Yeah.
see the shots that we've seen earlier in the film of her having sex with Michael with the mask on
Yeah,
and
it's
all this
so
stuff.
what's so also disturbing, like, oh my, there's so many levels to why that's so disturbing, because it's disturbing, it's already disturbing because someone's invading someone else's body.
Right.
Then it's disturbing to think about like someone else wearing someone else's skin, and like and sort of invading someone's body that way. But then it's really disturbing to think that if you got invaded, that the way that you would have to regain control is then to go and invade this other person's mind and take possession of their mind within your own mind. Like, dude, that is so fucked up. That is so fucked up.
It's crazy, man.
And really and neat. It's neat.
It's neat. And so when it ends, what I love is the scene just kind of like cuts, and like he just has blood all over him, and he just fucking killed the guy without even knowing, you know. And it's so dope, so dope. It's just crazy like sci-fi horror shit. And then like after that, is that when we just like straight up like he just goes to like Michael's house and
that's basically then he kills one more person. I think that's it's like
who does he kill?
He kills the girl finally. Well, actually, I guess that was earlier. That was just one moment I guess I was thinking about where it was like still ambiguous because we had a flash of Voss when she killed this woman who was around. But yeah, I think we basically after that we go straight to the ending slaughter. Where you again we return back to that very first scene where not first scene, sorry, it's that scene where Voss was going to the house for the first time and she was practicing her lines for being a mom, and he's now practicing those lines this time, which is really unsettling.
It's cool because you don't know what's going on. Like you don't know, and like what I love about that thing is like is this Voss? Is this Colin? You don't really know, you know. And so when he gets in there, he basically so it's clearly Colin, you know. It's clearly he fucking threatens Michael, gun to his head, you know. Fucking I'm gonna kill you. Where is you know Voss? Like what's she doing to me? You know, asking all these questions. And then it just gets fucking wild, right? Where he basically butchers Michael. Okay, describe to me what you saw. Because mine was like, so she cut off his fingers. And the fingers like were like moving in that awesome way. That is such a Cronenberg thing, but the fingers kind of moving. And then he just like butchers her. But that's all I saw. I didn't see like, is there anything else? No,
I don't think so. The finger thing was the only thing that I think they might like take out, but he just really brutalized that man's chest, like really brutalized it, like just chopped the shit out of it. It was bloody, very bloody.
So this is when it gets like fucking trippy and disturbing and sad. So the kid comes down and he basically Colin shoots the kid.
Well, I think the kid stabs him in the neck first, and then
stalks him. And then then he just starts just firing fucking. Well, before that, Colin was like, "Pull me out, pull me out, pull me out." You know, still can't do it. You know, still can't shoot himself. And ends up killing her son. And as she's calling the shooting, it like flashes to her face, you know, shooting. Which like screaming in horror and agony. So basically, it's weird, right? Because is it her killing her son? Or is it...
We also have that factor earlier on when Colin has Michael, the husband, at gunpoint, that he is demanding for Voss to talk to him within his own brain. And there's sort of that double that talking to himself where he's talking to her and she just is basically saying that she doesn't give a fuck about like you should do it, just do it and stuff like that. Just a very strange conversation, which it's like, is that the point? Like because right after killing him, you're right. He says, or Voss says, pull me out, which is like, was that
Yeah.
moment, that murder, something that was enough emotional intensity that put her back
Well,
into
that's
control?
what's so cool about this, because earlier, like in that original dinner scene, we kind of saw that Lost maybe wants to kill Michael in a weird way, like
Yeah.
seeing that knife, on his neck. So there is like, and to me, like this movie has this incredibly disturbing kind of theme, and especially that the ending kind of reinforces
Yeah.
about how Lost basically this job turns her into a killer in a way that, like, that's how I interpreted it. Where she's almost like enjoying murdering these people, and
Yeah.
like, and it's interesting to think about that, right? Because you know, if there was a job where you could possess people and you personally have no repercussions and no um like nothing's gonna happen to you. Like you could kill people through this other body and you're gonna have no almost remorse or
Yeah.
anything because it's not your life, There's a really weird, interesting thing going on,
Yeah.
disturbing thing going on there about like is it in human nature to maybe enjoy maybe killing people or enjoy kind of that to me is that what this film kind of asks at the end of it is like kind of like this job basically like saves her being, and that's what
Yeah.
kind of the ending kind of reinforces, right? But
Yeah.
really interesting. So
I,
I
I
don't.
I like this is why I like these films which people claim as being like fetishizing violence. This is why I like Nicholas Winding Refn and I
Yeah,
like Quentin
right.
Tarantino. It's sort of this exploration of really disturbing and cathartic violence that people don't really want to experiment with their own life,
Uh-huh.
like I don't really want to try killing some
Of
person.
course not. Yeah,
I
right.
like, and I don't think like
I
that
don't
that
really
that
want to do that,
it's not really in my preference of what I would like to do on a good Tuesday. I'm
Yeah,
not really into that
right.
kind of stuff. But it's nice. It is cool to watch movies about other people dealing with that,
Yeah, 'cause it's
because
fascinating,
yeah,
'cause it's so far in the realm of normal people's possibilities. That's why we're so obsessed with serial killers. Think about how
yeah,
many serial killer documentaries are on Netflix alone, dude.
yeah,
Like,
yeah, right.
what? Come on, man.
It's just sort of
We love this, That's why there's so much stuff like this. Yeah.
yeah, and yeah, I think I think it's just it's really fascinating to see that play and see her struggle with that. I'm curious, how did you feel about that other little twist? Because I don't really think I'm into it. The final
Oh,
twist
I
that
like it.
also
Yeah, I like it.
that the other
Jennifer
person
Jason Lee
possessed,
was in there, yeah, to help her,
it didn't
yeah, to
really
help her pull her
res.
out.
It kind of just felt like something that was thrown on. It was really
Sure. I
unnecessary
mean,
to me.
I thought, well, here's what it worked with me is that I thought, as my interpretation of the movie went, I thought that that guy was being possessed. So I thought that this was something that was like they were trying to like help him by possessing other people and like
Sure,
trying to pull him out. So that didn't like come out of nowhere to me. Like it felt
sure.
like this was something that was almost inevitable because it was set up earlier. But now I know that maybe he was just a plant. He wasn't being
Yeah.
possessed by another person. So
Well,
maybe it is a little out of place.
the other
But
thing I don't really like about that is also just like yeah, what I like about this movie is that it gives you just enough where you're not questioning the practicalities of it because it's satisfying, right? It's like it all makes sense how it works. But they do set up that they have to like abduct a person and prep them to in order to be ready
that's true.
to
Yeah.
to be possessed. So I don't really buy that this kid that would have happened, for
Sure.
them to
Yeah.
have prepped this kid.
Right.
And it feels more like it was just something that was just sort of thrown on there at the very ending to have that shot where both of them, which it's cool. I will give them that. I like the
Yeah.
shot where both of them are saying, pull me out. but I just think the
Yeah.
movie would have worked a lot better. It's like it was just kind of unnecessary, like on
Sure,
top of
yeah,
everything.
yeah.
But like I don't. That's
I
like that.
kind of thought that, because to me, like her killing her own son, or Colin killing the child, or
Yeah.
whatever was going on, was emotionally powerful to me.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess you're right. Like that kind of
Like I thought, but like to me, it's just like you could still have that scene. Like,
I
why does
guess
she need to possess?
I
Because like
guess
a
well,
man's
I
trying to
guess
kill
to
his
me that it
dad.
was I guess to me it was like extra disturbing because it was like showing the levels of kind of um disturbing kind of like the disturbing levels that this organization will go
Yeah.
to like I don't know. Like it was like I don't know. I don't know why I liked it. I thought it kind of worked. But
Okay, well, here's the thing to me. I think that to me it doesn't work, but I think it's a cool idea. I agree that it's like a neat thing, it's disturbing, but I think that I ultimately, like, to me it was just felt really unnecessary in a distracting and
sure, yeah,
subtractive kind of way.
yeah,
Because it's sort of, because what I also liked about the character who was sort of masterminding this was that she never had direct contact with how she was manipulating
yeah,
Voss.
right, sure,
And so
yeah.
that kind
Well,
of
that all
subverts
ties
that.
to, I thought that that was what was going on. Like I thought that that guy was being possessed too. So I thought like
Yeah.
that this was like something that they did. You know,
Yeah.
like
Which, okay, so like here's also the thing too, where it's just like it could be that I'm wrong about the plan. Maybe that there is this factor that there are this whole like other possession things. But the thing that was that also why this doesn't work for my viewing of the movie was that it was a key factor that she was important because she was one of the only people who could do this. So, and that this older person who was trying to get her to do this really wanted her because she was getting too old to do it, and she needed her to go on do this
sure,
stuff. So it
yeah,
wasn't a very easy thing for other people to kind of to go and do. So it's like, again, there's also the thing where it's just like maybe it's like her last mission before it like all passes on and stuff.
yeah, right.
Like I'm curious to see what I think about when I watch it again. But to me, I think that the ending would be exactly the same if you took
Yeah,
that
sure,
out.
yeah, yeah, sure, yeah,
I
yeah,
think
yeah, I agree.
that's what my
Yeah,
problem is
I
about
think
it.
it
It's
was
just like
just
you
like
take it out and it's the
more of
same.
like a cool kind of sci-fi twist at the
Yeah.
end, where it was like, oh, the kid was possessed too. I
Yeah.
kind of do agree with you. It is kind of like out of nowhere, but like I kind
Yeah.
of like enjoyed kind of the fun nature of it,
Yeah.
like the twist ending. But
Yeah.
I totally understand where you're coming from.
Yeah, and I
Yeah,
feel it was mostly just like a twist that didn't really twist to reveal anything at all. It was just more
yeah,
of like a thing that happened
like
that
a
was like,
cool thing. Yeah,
oh, it's like I didn't expect that to be possessed, and I have no new information from it,
yeah,
basically,
right.
from it.
Yeah.
But I think the other thing, I don't know, what did you pick this up on the ending? Because I didn't get this until I read the Wikipedia page, which pointed out the fact about when she was doing the psychological test again, she didn't say that she had guilt
Oh
for the
yeah, dude.
butterfly.
I caught that immediately. I was
Dude,
like,
that
when
went
I saw
straight over
that,
my head.
when I saw that, I was like, this is one of the coolest things, like coolest endings I've seen in a movie in a long time. Because I
Yeah.
thought that, and she was like, oh, she didn't. So, cause this time she didn't say she had guilt. And to
Yeah.
me, that
That's
completely
everything.
reinforced
That's
what
everything.
I
Yeah.
thought the movie was about. You know, because I
Yeah.
was like, that's what where like my theory earlier, where it's like this movie is kind of about this character
Yeah.
basically
Yeah. Yeah.
becoming
Yeah.
a killer, like basically
Yes.
enjoying this being a murderer, like because she did because this job has basically turned her into I killed this butterfly and now I don't feel guilt at all. You know, it's
Yeah.
changing the narrative of her childhood, of the
Yeah.
way that she like thinks. So I completely picked up on
Yeah,
that. Yeah,
I
that's
think that
right.
I 100% agree with you. I think that that's
Perfect.
brilliant. I think
Perfect way to
but
end it.
I think
Holy
that's
fuck.
I think that's one of the things actually that actually really well also adds to my butt hurt about this the ending factor, that little thing, because I was so distracted by that twist and trying to think about like what does that have to do with anything,
Sure.
that I missed that. I totally
Sure,
missed that
yeah.
because I was focused on the insignificant twist, which
Sure,
is
yeah.
like
Yeah.
which is that's a problem because that
Yeah.
is such a good ending to me. But
Sure.
again, I am one man and I
Yeah.
am an anal, fickle little bitch. So like,
I like the twist. Well, you're not wrong. The twist like isn't really that important. It's
yeah,
kind of like, to me, I just kind of, it just adds another layer of fuck, because it's like,
sure,
so she basically like, it's just because like at the end of, like, a weird thing to me about that too, like the weird thing about the twist to me is that what was she planning on doing?
yeah,
Like as a kid, was she planning on, like, what was the goal? What was
yeah,
gonna
right.
happen there? Like, what were you gonna do? Like, were you gonna be like, hey, it's me? Like, that wasn't gonna stop anything, you know?
Yeah,
And why didn't you? Why did you stab? So it kind of doesn't really make sense, because it's
yeah,
kind of like, why did she stab Colin? Did she think he was trying? I don't know.
exactly.
I
Yeah,
don't know. So
yeah,
like, I guess yeah, it doesn't really make any sense.
yeah,
Um, it's just kind of, I think he just wanted to be like, oh, cool sci-fi ending where it's like,
yeah.
where the two possessors basically killed each other.
You
You know?
know, and I think you just kind of described like all the factors of my thinking of why it bothered me. But the other thing that that is really necessary to mention is that that's the only time that this movie did shit like this, you
Right.
know.
Yeah.
And
Right. Right.
it's like this movie it just
And
really
in the grand scheme of things, it's such a small kind of like
yeah
detail where it's just
like
like,
talking
it's still
about
heavy that she fucking murdered her kids, maybe, you
yeah.
know?
Well, the thing that's still great about that scene is that it doesn't fucking matter that who's
It
possessed in
doesn't.
that or
Yeah, it
not. It's
doesn't
still
matter.
she
Yeah.
still killed the
It's still,
kid, you
still
know?
fucked up. Yeah,
So
still
it's like the
crazy.
ending
Yeah.
still works. It still
Yeah.
works. It's just like this weird
Just
thing on top
added
of that.
little, yeah.
And
Things.
how I would
Yeah.
describe it, kind of going back to the music analogies, like this movie's in the pocket basically the whole fucking movie, and it's just like you miss a 16th note and then we're back
Right.
in and we end
Yeah.
the movie
Yeah, right.
beautifully.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
like most movies are like playing in a different time signature than what the beat of the movie is
Yeah.
supposed to be.
Sure.
So like
Ugh.
so I still think that this movie is fantastic. I think this movie is
Yeah.
totally
I was
fantastic.
really, taken aback how the hell much I like this movie, and how
Yeah.
much fun I had watching this. Like,
Yeah.
sure, like you get, like, when I go like, my God, man, made me laugh so hard, because I was like so into it. When like all the gruesome gore stuff was in, I was like, yeah, fuck yeah. My guys over there like, right. You know, there's two types of people. You know,
Yeah.
there's like people that like love this shit, that are like so into it, and I don't know. Maybe I watched Tarantino movies when I was young. I saw Pulp
Yeah.
Fiction when I was
Yeah.
fucking like 12. You know, so maybe I'm just desensitized to this shit. But
Yeah.
you know, it's still disturbing. I just love this kind of. I
Yeah.
love this style of filmmaking, man. It's just
Yeah, I
it is
agree.
no fucks given, and then they're trying to disturb you, and I fucking love that. There's not a lot of art forms out there that will literally make someone squirm in a seat and literally just can't watch it, and that's something so fascinating to me. That's what I
Yeah.
love about horror, you know. And there's two types of people, right? There's people who just can't do it, like just can't watch it, and
Yeah.
just can't deal with horrific things, and then there's people who are like, I want to watch this for the rest of my life, you know?
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
And it's interesting. But my dad made me laugh because he was like, when it ended, me and my dad talked about it. He was like, yep, she likes killing people. And I was like, yeah, isn't that awesome? He's like, yeah. I'm gonna go to bed now. He's like, I really like it, really well made, super good, but I'm disturbed. I was like, yep, that's the goal. But yeah, it's funny. It's like, yeah, I'm gonna go to bed disturbed, and I'm gonna go to bed happy because I just watched a fucking dope ass movie.
Yeah, dude, that's exactly how I went to bed. I went to bed happy and disturbed. That's so good. That's how I felt after Neon Demon too. Happy and disturbed.
Fuck. Holy shit. That was like, in a while, when I saw Neon Demon, I almost like threw up.
So gross.
You see that movie, the ending is fucking gross, man. But it's awesome. Neon Demon is a really cool movie.
I want to see that movie again. That was
it's a good Refn movie.
Talking about gross out movies, man. Refn, nobody quite has the style that Refn has. I really think this really kind of feels like the style feels like more Refn Cronenberg violence is what it really kind of feels like. That
I think that
maybe it's just the digital cinematography that makes me feel.
I love Refn, but I think this is better than Refn's recent output. I think like this.
Well, what do you? He made that series, which kind of sucked.
Bored the shit out of me. I didn't finish it, but I watched like maybe 3 or 4 episodes.
I watched the first episode and I thought I was gonna die. I was so bored.
I think that bad Refn does that because it's very like
only God forgives.
You know, it's very like indulgent, really, and I don't really say that a lot. Like, look, that's the thing is I kind of give a little benefit of the doubt because when it works, it's like fucking awesome, you know.
Yeah.
Drive, it's fucking Parks and Valhalla Rising. it's awesome. You know,
the fucking boat.
You know, it's indulgent. It's the idea of like I can stay on the shot for 20 minutes and you're gonna like it. It's like, no, fucking what are you doing?
I won't. You know? I won't do it.
Yeah. So but I'll watch anything like that next. But yeah, there's definitely elements to this that reminded me of Drive, actually.
Yeah.
Thematically. They're different movies, but Drive is kind of maybe similar to this idea of I like killing people and I like doing it, you know.
Yeah.
And this is who I am. Fucking deal with it, you know.
Yeah.
So
I
like shit like that, you know.
I think this movie is also great because as violent as it is, it just walks that great line of
it's a genre movie too.
Yeah.
And that's what I like about it. It actually has a really fun. It's a genre movie. You know, it's like a Cronenberg thing. That Cronenberg did, where The Brood, Standards. Standards is a great like genre movie. It's like a sci-fi horror movie, but it's some cool themes to it. You know.
Yeah, but you know how like there's a feeling like when you're vibing with somebody, you like when you're hanging out and you're really vibing. It's like we're having a good time right now because I know we're having a good time. We're fucking vibing. This movie kind of has that kind of underlying energy throughout it too, which is just like it's just like it's like that kind of which Drive is a great example. It's exactly kind of like Drive where it's just like
believe we haven't talked about Drive yet on this podcast.
Yeah, that's actually a really good point. We've never, it's probably just because we both love it so much that we just talk about it outside all the time. That would be a good movie to talk about. I love that movie. That movie is so good. That movie makes me cry. That is so good.
Incredible. That's like one of the movies that I show like everybody. Like when I first saw it, I was like, friends would have me to like see movies. I'm like, you got to watch this.
Yeah.
You know, this is one of those. I sampled Gosling on one of my songs.
Yeah, it's sick. Wanna fight?
That's like the funniest scene in Only God Forgives.
Yeah, it's my favorite scene for sure.
Yeah, that fight scene is.
It's a sick fight scene.
It's ridiculous. Yeah,
it is ridiculous, but it's
so
sick.
Funny. That movie is ridiculous.
Yeah.
That ending too, when he Only God Forgives is a weird movie.
Yeah, it's kind of. It's
what's the guy's name? Chow? Isn't that fucking
like the guy who plays who kills everybody?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fucking
that movie was really disappointing.
Remember the scene where the karaoke scene? Remember that?
I think I skipped part of that scene. I was like, dude,
I think
like,
everybody did. It's literally 10 minutes of horrible karaoke.
it's funny
And then
because
that really fucking after that where he tortures that guy, it's like so like yeah. It's not
yeah, the toothpick thing.
indulgent and just not
Yeah,
like that.
and it's
Like that's a good example of like when violence just doesn't work. Like when it's just it is because like I'm not somebody that's like, if somebody wanted to call Possessor like, um indulging in violence, I would say I don't think so. I think there's underlying themes going on
yeah,
here, and
yeah,
I
yeah,
think
yeah.
like Drive, for example, like Drive is a very Drive. Ryan Gosling's character stomps a fucking dude's head in. I mean, like a melon in that
Yeah,
movie.
yeah.
It is super violent. One of the most violent things I've ever seen in a movie. But there's meaning behind it. There's something there. Only God Forgives to me did feel like I'm fetishizing violence a little bit.
Yeah.
Like sticks the finger in the fucking his long hole and fingers it. Like
Oh yeah,
what's
that
going
was
on,
so
man? It's
weird.
weird, man. It's
I
just
forgot about
and
that.
like I'm not saying he had bad intentions. It just didn't work. I had no idea what the
Yeah,
intention was.
I think it's something again that you sort of have to. It's easier to rely on your gut in situations like that because with Possessor, I knew immediately that the movie worked really well, at least for me, because it was already replaying like from the beginning. Because it felt
Right.
like I could, a movie is good and really resonates with you when it feels like you can see the whole movie in like a flash. And that's
Totally.
how the
Yeah.
Possessor was.
Good
It's like I
point.
could see the beginning to end like instantly.
Yeah.
And
Totally.
something
Yeah.
like Only God Forgives, it's like I can't, like, I know all these scenes you're talking about. I can't fucking picture them to save
Yeah.
my life. I can't
Right.
see it like at all.
It's
I
such
can
a
see
gorgeous.
Drive from
Also,
beginning to
that
end.
movie man looks fucking amazing. Like Only God
Hmm.
Forgives has some of my favorite cinematography I have ever seen. Like ever. Like the
It's just,
settings,
it's
the
such a
light,
shame
dude.
too because
It
it's,
looks fucking incredible.
it does.
Incredible. Oh my god, it looks so good. I mean, like
It's,
I don't even like that movie. There's certain shots that I would just hang on the wall because they're just
yeah,
so
I mean,
beautiful.
because
And
Refn
Gosling is just wow.
so attractive. Yeah, because Refn is just creates cinematography only Refn can create. So it's like
or whoever
that.
he works with,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
cinematographer.
But like and yeah, and it's like Only God Forgives has like a really interesting yeah, dude. It's just such a shame. It's such a shame.
That's a good promotion for my album that comes out next.
Oh, talking about Ryan Gosling. Oh yeah, Penny Winner, baby.
There's an Only God Forgives sample on it. Penny Winter, February 13th,
Yeah.
SoundCloud, Baja
Yeah.
Day, check it out. Uh, maybe, uh, maybe next week we'll start. I'll, we'll, maybe at the top of the episode, I will say something about it.
Yeah.
And so people can go listen to it if they want to. But anyway, I think we talked about a bunch of things.
Yeah, we did.
Good,
We
a
covered a
good,
lot.
a riveting episode, if I
I
do say
think
so myself.
I think we can say that this
This
is
movie is thick,
thick and
butter,
butter
approved. Yeah,
approved
baby. Thick and
for
butter,
sure.
approved.
No
Our
questions.
first thick and butter 2021 movie,
Yeah.
approved. Um, just a little side note, I saw the new Denzel Washington movie called The Little Things.
Yeah.
Don't watch it. It's bad. That is not approved. Do not see it. Anyway, but I went and saw. I went to a theater and saw it, so that was actually kind of
Oh,
cool.
that's
I haven't
cool.
been to the theater um since Tenet. I just went to my local theater.
I still haven't been to a theater since March.
I know, right? Isn't that
It's
crazy?
crazy.
It's gonna be
Yeah.
where we go. I wonder. I hope it's like a really funny movie that you go the first time.
Yeah.
Where it's like I think you go see like
Sonic 2.
Mortal Kombat.
Yeah.
Sonic 2.
I'll just be like overwhelmed. Like, what is this sound? It's so loud. I can feel it in my butt.
Oh my god!
I want to go home where it's
Yeah.
safe. So next week,
Yeah, what are we gonna watch next week?
if everything goes as planned, we're doing another Twilight episode.
Yeah. So we'll do that next week. Yeah, that's a good idea. For sure.
We've conferenced with all of the people involved this time. We
Yeah.
know that this is a done deal.
Yeah.
It's more assured
Yeah, let's do it
than
next week, for sure.
I don't know what it's more than assured than Biden was the actual president this whole time. That joke doesn't really hold now because he actually, anyways, we're doing Twilight next week.
Yeah.
We'll have
Don't know
Zach
which
back
one yet,
on. We have to pick later.
Yeah. All right, everybody. Thank you guys so much for listening. Follow us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook,
Yes.
YouTube. Follow us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, whatever you get your podcasts.
And
Stitcher.
remember, after you follow us on all of those things, to tell your mom and dad and sister and brother and cactus and beavers and amphibians and squash and pumpkins and peacocks and I think we're letting in. I already said amphibians, reptiles, probably.
I think we should start letting in guinea pigs. I think
Guinea pigs. Yeah,
if
we haven't
you-
said mammals are allowed. Yeah, dogs are obviously allowed, right? We're not like
Yeah.
saying no to dogs and
Of course.
cats.
Yeah.
Obviously,
Dogs and cats will listen to us.
I'm a little bit offended that we never said that dogs could come.
I
Dude,
know. I think
maybe it was
I-
just assumed.
Yeah, it was just
Who
assumed.
couldn't bring their dog?
Yeah, of course.
Like, it's like you can bring your fucking frog, but leave your dogs at the fucking door, dude.
Yeah, I open up an apartment and it's just no dogs allowed. Frogs
Only
allowed.
frog. Only
Yeah,
frog.
only frogs. And you
Bring
walk
your
into the apartment and
frogs.
just Frogs are jumping everywhere.
That would be a weird place to
A
be.
hotel for frogs. All right, everybody. Thank you guys so much for listening. We love you. Bye bye.
Bye.